2 in the chat, not a measurement. 1 in the chat if it is a measurement. Because he's asking, right? Oh, so if we drive from point A to point B, that's a measurement, right? We need an answer for him. So what do you guys think? 2's in the chat. All right, so we got 2 2s in the chat. So the flat earthers don't agree. We got 3 2s. So no, we don't agree. 4 2s. No, that's not a measurement. How about that?
I mean, you kind of strawmanned it a little bit, right?
I don't think so. You said you go from point A to point B. Is that a measurement?
Point out the strawman? Can I point out the strawman?
Sure.
May I? All right. So the strawman is, I didn't just say drive from one location to one other. I said to also calculate the distance you're using, such as if you have like a meter that's at 0, so you can calculate
If you don't have a measurement of circumference,
like
how do you get
measuring.
that?
You're measuring.
You actually haven't, bro, because that's what you said. You said, is this a measurement? The answer is no.
Has been driven, then I've measured 1,000 kilometers, right?
No.
So a distance is not measured. That's interesting. Because distances are important for measuring.
No one's saying that there's no distance between those two things. It's just that when you get in your car and then drive from point A to point B, I don't think I personally would consider that you measuring something. You did mention, well, what will you calculate?
Well, wait a second. Technically, if you have an odometer on your car, and you test the odometer to make sure that the distance around the wheel and all that can add up, I guess you could measure the actual linear distance you went, but would that give you a number that you could actually use in an equation to come up with an answer for something for science? I think that's the real question here, isn't it?
Perhaps, yeah. And too, like, what are we measuring as well? I mean, is this a hypothetical where we just like drive on a perfect?
Well, I was just saying, like, the way he's putting it, I mean, there's no sense in saying no, it's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, parts of what he's saying does have is you know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm coming from, right?
I do. I get what you're saying. I'm just challenging the fact that, well, let's be realistic. Even if
of course. But I'm saying I think he does have a point on where his mindset is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe
there's nothing wrong with that, of course.
Maybe hypothetically, right? It's because it's just like when folks say, "We'll just go straight." It works on paper, but not all things that hypothetically work on paper, just like calculations, work in reality. Right.
Well, I think the thing that we have to try to remember here is that, like, let's say you buy a piece of land or whatever. Okay, let's say there's a physical place. There's a tree somewhere. Okay, now we can all go visit that tree based on following a map, right? Okay, but it doesn't really matter where in space that place is. We know it's solid. It's not moving. It doesn't just disappear and reappear somewhere else. We know that if we go to that spot, it doesn't matter whether you've measured it. We just know it's still there, right? Like, we know New York City is in the place where they've told us it is, right? And if we travel there, even if we don't even measure our way there, we can still go there and say, "Oh, look, here's New York City. We found it," right? See what I'm saying? Things are there. The measurement really doesn't make any difference, because when you get there, it's still in the same spot. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we had things that moved, if we were talking about moving forces, like, let's say the Earth is rotating, that's a completely different argument. It has absolutely nothing to do with this particular argument. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got you. I got you personally. I'm just saying,
And on top of that, when he's asking me to like provide like a direct measurements of the curvature of the Earth, the size of the Earth, and therefore to measure its curvature, you would have to be big enough to measure it, and you can't be that big.
Hold
Sorry,
on. Stop the show.
You're
that's
firm compared to Earth.
Say that to begin with.
Never.
Why do people always deny reality? Come on, man.
You guys always go into it with this default like you already know. Listen to what you said, right? We haven't established what size the Earth is yet. That hasn't been measured. But you're like, "Oh, well, it's this big, so you have to do X, Y, and Z." Well, again, that has yet to be established, the size. Not like anyone's measured anything. Again, your example is like, get in a car and just drive over there. Okay, well, if you really think about that, you're not really able to drive in like a way where you could measure the Earth like that. Because why? You're gonna have to turn left and turn right and go this way and go that way and maybe go a roundabout and stuff like that, right? So That I don't think that's really a good way of measuring things. I get hypothetically your example, like, well, if you dig 10 paces west, I get that, but that's not really what
All
it
right, and
means, for example.
also, I would have to say that, like, when I'm speaking, you do cut me off, but when you speak, you have the full liberty of not being cut off. That's not very fair, my friend. You need to stop, like, fucking muting me
It
all
may
the
not be
time.
fair, but when you're arguing something on the
That's not
internet, you
honest.
have to expect a certain amount of like, you know,
And like Rookie
fun.
Monster was saying earlier, you can use reference points such as the sun, other objects, and stuff like that, distances, and use those measurements for proper calculations. Even if at
But
the end you're
those
I gotta
using
things,
object.
calculations,
I
if
gotta
you're
object because I'm sorry, but I
here,
just said
um,
you take these things as default already known. That's my issue. You're like, well, we can use all these measurements. Not anything has been measured. You need a foundation first. Oh, well, we already know the distance of the sun. How? Well, we already know the size of the earth, though. How? Well, we know this other thing already. How do you know that? Well, we just know already this other thing. You see the problem? Nothing actually has been established. Well, how did you come to that knowledge? Well, we just already knew it. Like that's not really helpful.
sorry, but like you're committing a lot of fallacies there, my friend.
Okay.
life isn't a debate, bro. You have to prove things to yourself by looking for the answers. That's how you become knowledgeable and wise. Is you go out and you seek out the truth of things, and you
Look,
find it out
if I
so that
take
you
a if
know
I,
the
look,
truth of it, not just assume it.
if I take a ruler and measure, let's say, the 30 centimeters, did I measure 30 centimeters with my ruler? Are you telling me that my ruler is inaccurate and just based off pure
Yeah,
assumptions
I'm
and
pretty
that
sure that's
30
exactly what.
centimeters is not 30 centimeters?
Yeah, that's
Is that
correct.
what you're like kind of arguing here? That we
Yeah,
can't measure anything because
yeah.
all our measurement tools are fake?
Yep, I'm saying
Well,
exactly that.
depends
All
on if you're
measurements
talking about
are fake.
philosophy.
Rulers are fake. Centimeters are fake. Yep, that's exactly what I spent the last 10 minutes detailing. That you can't measure anything. A ruler is fake. All the numbers on there, they're lying to you. Yep. If that's what you took away, NPC,
Nothing
I don't know
you to
if you're in the
measure
right
is
place.
real.
I don't know if you're in the right place. If that's your takeaway, is that flat earthers are saying measurements are fake. We're calling you out because you don't even have anything measured.
Do you have anything measured?
You don't. That's the whole point.
Do you?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, what are your measurements?
Well, not of a curved earth.
What's your measurement that Earth is not curved?
So look at this, folks. Let's take a listen here. Notice how he's going to
Technically, you
start off.
don't need a measurement because the horizon is level and flat. It's pretty simple, bro.
Yeah, we don't even, yeah, measurement. What do you need a measurement for? We just calculated it, bro. We stood on the beach, then we laid down,
If it
and
didn't
then we,
work, we wouldn't have like we wouldn't be able to travel around on this whatever we're on, right? Like think about it. Things are just how they are. It doesn't really matter how you assume it in your mind. That's just a conception. Do you understand that? That's philosophical. It's not physical. We're talking about the physical aspects of something, and you should be able to measure it. And no matter how big something is, if it has a curve to it, you should be able to measure that at some point. And we're talking, we've got measurements where we try to take calculations and try to take measurements at certain distances, and it doesn't match up with what they're telling us. So somebody's telling us a lie. Either somebody's lying to us, or we're seeing the information wrong. But you're never bringing us the answer to that question. You're always just telling us that we're wrong, and you're pointing at another thing that you can't prove that makes that right. And that's not how you figure stuff out. That's not how science decides what caused something. Do you understand?
sheesh. Homeboy cooking. Nicely done. But
Now,
yeah,
if we're talking about,
go
if
ahead.
we're going to talk about like psychologically, then that's a completely different argument, right? Because psychologically, people that are wrong will and absolutely do every day argue with crap that doesn't make any sense to try to defend their argument because they don't have an argument, right? Everybody knows this happens, right? But life isn't a debate, bro. It's not about whether it's a fallacy. The point is that when you start looking at all this evidence and you start trying to figure it out and measure it and put it all together on some kind of a map or try to form this thing in your mind of an idea of what the earth is, it doesn't give you enough information. That's what we're trying to say. Okay, we're saying that it doesn't match the information. The stuff doesn't look right. So let's go and find out what it really is instead of arguing about, well, they already figured it out. Because I don't think they did. I think they assumed, and they assumed more, and then they assumed some more. And they got lucky, and then when they aren't lucky, they just change math, and they just weave it differently. And that's what somebody that's wrong would do. So it's a natural response. It's not hard to understand that when somebody says something and it's wrong, and it turns out they get caught in some kind of argument where it makes them look like they're wrong and they're being deliberately deceiving, right? They don't want that to happen because then that makes them a liar, right? And once people, taint you as a liar, then they don't want to listen to what you have to say. So if you're a scientist, that's exactly what you're going to defend, right? So why would you even go into this with an aspect of debating it when you don't even have enough evidence or information to fucking actually prove what did it? Nobody does. That's what we're trying to say. We're trying to say there isn't enough evidence. It's not out there, and it doesn't make any sense when you do put it together. So show us something that makes that reality, makes this physical that we can look at it and measure and go, okay, this is exactly where the curve is. But you can't do that, and that's why we're upset with you, because you're not bringing us the evidence. Bring it, dude. Bring it. Show us. Where did
You're
you
just
measure the
not
curve of it?
satisfied with the evidence. The curvature of a circle or sphere is measured by
Would
its
you be
radius. So
satisfied
you
if I
need
told you my fish that I
no.
caught yesterday was longer than yours, but I couldn't show you on a ruler how it was longer? Would you just trust me? No. You'd want me to measure that fish, wouldn't you? Because if that was what we were basing the win of the damn contest of, you'd want me
Okay.
to measure
Yeah.
that fish, right?
And when it
So let's
comes
do
to the
that.
curvature, it's measured by the radius. So
Holy
if you
shit.
know the
You don't have a radius. If you want to get that smoke out, you can get it back. You don't have a radius. And if you were going to say that you do, well, you're going to need a measurement for that.
And you can't measure that because it's an assumption. It's so dumb. It's like you don't understand the differences between sciences and how they can react with each other. It's like you go
This
into these little denial things where you read something and someone tells you, "Oh, this is evidence against them," and then you run over here and you start talking about it, like as if you even knew what the hell is going on, bro. It's really obvious.
I mean, bro, really? Your last sentence was, "Did you know that a circle means it has a radius?" No shit. That's what we're challenging you to go get measurements for, bro. That's how you would know if the Earth is a sphere or not. Well, you would need have to have
Well,
a
if it was a
specific
line, you
size.
could yeah, if it was a line with the segments on it, you could measure the distance from one to the other, right? But when it's a circle, then what do? You have to find the center, then you measure from the inside to the outside, and then or you can measure the distance all the way around. But that's just a mathematical thing to figure out things, to understand things. It's not an exact science. The exact science is when you come down and you engineer it, right? And then you put that from your mind into reality by building those physical parts to put together to make that thing, right? That's completely different from what you're saying.
no, because you can calculate the radius from the circumference or the diameter. In the
Tho-
case of
But how do you get
Erasmus,
any
Those
of
have
them?
to be established first. See, we already called you out on this, NPC. Well, we just already know this other thing. No, you definitely don't. Go ahead, Jedi. Please cook this dude. Well,
Yeah,
we know
somebody
there's
help
a
here.
circumference already.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Sorry, Jedi. Go ahead.
No, I said I just jumped in, man. It's not fair that I jump in straight away.
Oh, well, he's just saying, like, well, how do you know the radius? Well, we know the circumference. Well, how do you know the circumference? Well, we knew the diameter. How do you know the diameter? Oh, well, we knew the radius. Well, you see the problem here? Something has to be done first to establish these things, NPC.
Yeah, his argument keeps shifting back and forth because he doesn't
I
seem to have an
accept
answer
that.
for it either.
Like,
So, yeah.
He's right. You're
I
right, Rookie.
accept
He's
that
like, well,
he's
you
a straw
calculated. Oh,
man
no, we
because
measured it. Okay, how?
can't
Well, we calculated it.
But that's
any
what
How?
we're
Well, we
trying to
evidence.
measured it.
say is that if
It's
you don't
like
have an answer for it,
no.
then you need to figure it out, right? Then we're not. Somebody's wrong here, so we need to figure out what's going on.
Okay,
What's up,
how about
guys?
this? Take an airplane and travel the whole distance of the world. You have the circumference right there. Boom. That's a
No,
measurement.
we just covered how it's not.
It is.
Hold on, what did you do?
What if the wind was blowing you in one direction or the other? Then how would you know that you weren't measuring some
Now you're
extra
special
wind that was
pleading. Now
blowing?
you're special pleading, my friend.
Special pleading. You don't even know what the fuck that means. Hey,
What the hell are you
Oh,
doing?
yeah.
what's up,
Okay,
Jedi?
whatever.
The whole chat disagrees with you. That's not a measurement. Twos in the chat means going from point A to
I
point
mean, the
B ain't
whole
measuring
chat is
shit.
flat earthers, so I mean, I can understand.
Well, I mean,
That
there is that argument that, just because everybody in the room agrees doesn't mean that it's true either. But, I mean,
No,
The
yeah,
problem is
I'm not making that point. I'm
we're not
just saying when he goes
we're not
right,
claiming
that's a
anything. We're
measurement,
just claiming
right?
that your stuff, the stuff that they're feeding us, doesn't make any sense, and we're
No.
asking you to show us how it does make sense, and you can't do it. And that's the problem. See, this is the thing: is you're having the same trouble that we did, and this is why we're arguing that we don't believe it. Why would we want to believe something that doesn't fit together right? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me.
All right. So how long we been going with this guy, CB?
Hour maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, Jedi, did you go in on him yet?
Oh no, I've only just jumped in, mate. I've only been here like 2 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I muted
I
him
mean,
for a reason. So if
my
anybody
bad.
muted him,
I was
unmuted
being
him, I muted him for a reason. So I
sorry.
just wanted to get something out of the air. Then I'll unmute him right now. But yeah, if you wanted to, I don't know if you wanted to talk to this guy Jedi, because since you just got here. NPC, well, actually, I started first, and then CB, and then I guess Rookie was in there.
Yeah. For context, we've just been chasing his tail for the last 30 minutes because he was like, well, you can definitely verify 100% the Earth is a sphere. So we've been trying to get that out of him, twist his arm for the last, I don't know, half hour to try to get those answers out. But
Well,
it seems,
actually, mostly what he's been doing is claiming that his mathematical assumptions are actually measurements. I think that's really what the argument is here.
Yeah. All right. So, well, he's pretty much caught up, I think. All right, there you go, NPC.
It's all right to be biased. Good job on the
I'm not,
bias, guys.
nah, I'm not gay.
All right,
And
brilliant. What
dishonesty at the same time, man.
awesome
Bias and
stuff, brilliant. What
dishonesty.
can I do to verify that the surface of the Earth is curved? To start there.
I mean, you can try and make certain measurements by taking
How?
reference points, just like the sun, other stars, other
Okay.
things, and
Okay.
using
How?
these distances, using
Distant.
information and actual science that you probably can't understand
All right. You're being
to
very ambiguous at
determine
the moment, my friend.
the
My friend.
circumference of Earth
My
and
friend.
then get its radius and then
Okay.
measure it.
That's very ambiguous. Can you be more specific, please? What can I do to verify that the surface of the Earth is curved? You said
I
stars
mean,
and planets and distances and
I
very
mean, no matter
ambiguous
what
shit.
I say, you dismiss it. If I bring you up the double sunset argument again, you're just gonna mute and like mock me or blah 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 instead of trying to understand it. Actually, so
Like I
yeah, no
said,
matter
my
what I'm
friend,
gonna
two
bring
seconds
up, you're
again
just gonna
before you
try and
ramble
fucking
on. Before you
straw man
ramble
it.
on. Dude, before you ramble on, I've only just joined the chat. I asked you once, you gave me nothing. You gave me very ambiguous word salad. I've given you the opportunity again. You've just said, I'll fucking deny it. How about you try and give it to me and see what happens? So let's
All
start
right,
again. What can I do to verify that the surface of the Earth is curved? Don't give me more
you could
bullshit, mate. Come on.
do the double sunset experiment, and then
Double sunset
use the
experiment.
measurements from the experiment, such as the position of the sun from the two angles that you're using to make your double sunset experiment. You use the mathematics with that, and you get the circumference of Earth. And using the circumference of Earth, you then get the radius. Dude. But of course, yeah,
Right.
you're just going to
So,
say that that's
excuse me.
wrong, it doesn't
Excuse
work, it's
me.
fake, blah, blah, blah. You just
Excuse me.
dismissed it already with your
Excuse me.
Mario
Excuse
Bros soundboard.
fucking excuse me,
Congrats.
sunshine. So you've just said the double sunset experiment. You're gonna have to be more specific. What's that? Does that come from Princeton?
It doesn't come from Princeton or whatever. That doesn't really matter at all.
Okay,
But
how
I
do I
mean,
do it?
you could, like I said earlier, they
How
just
do I do it?
laughed when I said laying flat on the belly on the beach and then standing up because they didn't want to listen to the rest of that. Because when you're laying flat on your belly, you have to measure the sunset you have. And when you're standing up, you have to measure the angle that you have again, and you have to compare those with the triangle. Do you know Pythagorean theory? You use that to get the circumference.
I
It's that
thought I
simple.
don't even understand that word. Did you say triangle?
Yes, because if you stand up and
Mm.
out on the belly and have two sunsets from those, you have a square triangle where you can
How
use
the fuck?
Pythagorean theory.
How the
Yeah, of
fuck do
course.
you have a triangle on a
You told
curved
me to try
surface?
you, that you won't
Excuse
pre-mock
me.
and pre-dismiss, and
I
look at
haven't
you
done
doing
anything yet.
that.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
ask you a fucking
yeah.
question.
Looks like I was right, man. Thanks for proving me
Trying
right.
to
I guess.
ask you a question, you very excitable little child. What the fuck?
Which was the
Question.
soundboard then? Which was the
That's not
soundboard?
my fucking soundboard.
All
Fuck
right,
me.
well,
Pay attention. How the fuck do you have an angle on a curved line? What the fuck are you talking about, mate?
What do you mean by a curved line?
The surface of the Earth, which you said is curved. You
Okay,
said measure
yeah.
angles. How do you have an angle off of a curved line? How'd you do that?
Okay. Do you understand how big Earth is?
You don't. We're
I,
trying to
So,
establish that.
so when you see towards the horizon, you see, even if there would be the slightest curve, I mean, there's a
what's the
slight curve,
horizon?
yeah.
What's the
Slight,
horizon?
very slight curve.
What's the
It's
horizon?
so slight that it's not
What's
going to
the
affect your measurements
horizon?
at all.
Very excitable little child. What's the horizon?
The horizon is the furthest point you can see with your eyes. Eyes that are, by the way, flawed.
Okay, so if I used a camera or a telescope, would horizon be in different location?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. If I stood up or jumped up or climbed a tree, would the horizon be further away?
Not the horizon, but the objects you're reference pointing, yes.
So
Well,
if
not further
so,
away,
how
but you mean you would have a
excuse me,
different angle of view. You see,
so
you would have a
idiot,
different angle of view.
idiot. So the
If you're looking at
horizon,
an object at the
so the
horizon, such as
horizon
the
wouldn't
sun,
change.
listen.
I'm trying to ask you a fucking question, you idiot. You've said something I don't agree with. So with altitude, would the horizon change location?
Angle to
Pardon?
view that thing at the horizon. At the bottom of your horizon, you see it on an angle from the highest vantage point. That is your triangle. You use both angles, the one when you were low and the one you were high. So you have a height here, and you have a line all the way to your horizon, and then you have this diagonal line from your vantage point, your eyes at the height, towards the object that you're looking at. That's your square triangle. Pythagorean theory applies after that, and then
Right,
you can
right,
use that to get
Steve,
the circumference of Earth. It's
Steve,
that simple.
how the fuck do you get a square triangle or any angles or straight lines on a curved surface?
Do I have to send you a visual? Do I have the image, Perms? I'm going to send you a visual at this point.
You're going to have to give me something that I can verify, mate. And at the moment, you were just
That's
saying a
something
load of
visual.
bullshit.
Like I'm going to show you this, how you can get this square triangle.
Okay, you have fun doing that.
I have a
Hey.
question. I just have one question. What type of pie is Pythagorean? Is that cherry? Jubilees? I don't know.
But it ain't fucking apple pie.
And where can you find all this spectacular space food? At Spacey's. Now with our new Raditz menu. Spacey's. It's good food in space.
Hey, you got to be on point with that soundboard, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah,
What I don't like what you're about to do, NPC, is you're doing this thing where you're pretending like flat earthers don't understand you.
Hey, so NPC, real quick, is it true that you think that we're just like ants on a beach ball? And if you do think that, can you explain that?
There's a difference between me and you also, guys. I am able to speak with you with a form of respect, while
Fuck
you
off.
have absolute zero respect towards me.
Oh.
So
I
right
think I've been
there,
respectful
right
towards you. I
there.
don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, like, well, I mean, do you need a shoulder to cry on? Like, I don't
Is that all
know.
you got, though? I mean, is that all you got, that you're getting ganged up on and that we're picking on you, even though you came in here to argue with us?
I think you pointed out that like I'm debating honestly.
Shut up.
I'm
Fucking
just
hell.
pointing that out.
Faggot.
Okay. What's the horizon? Tell me that again. That was funny. What's the horizon, NPC?
Does he have you turned down? I mean,
No, he's ignoring you.
I know he can hear you.
He's Googling shit. Hold on, you got to give him a second to Google his worldview, guys. He's
No,
trying to
I think
figure out.
he's emailing McToon to get information, probably.
He's like, dude, I need help.
Back up! I need backup.
These damn flat earthers are getting me again, man. I need help.
And we got
Well-
Captain Save-A-Hole's gonna come in here. We got a few of them. They're probably listening.
Captain Save a Globe.
He's Googling, these flat earthers don't understand me when I speak English. How do I get them to understand me more? Like, bro,
You know what I don't understand is why don't they ever take it all the way and go to the college professor and actually get the college professor to argue and show him what we're asking for, right? Like that's where it went with me. That's how I got it. Was I started going and asking the right people and they weren't giving me enough answers, and I'm like, wait a minute, so you don't really know? And I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
And we got to
We're
think about it
very
too, man. It's this high level. It's a high level thinking when you say, you know what? When we start to really analyze what the Earth is, all we have to do is get down on our bellies and then look at the horizon, and then stand up, and there you have it, folks. The Earth is a globe. Oh, and by the way, let me add an addendum to that because I didn't finish. So the next thing you got to do is lie back down again, and then you'll see that it confirms that the Earth is a globe. Dude, that's what you sound like, NPC. And then you wonder why what we're doing now. Like, come on, man, let's get real here. You offered nothing. You're just, that you're in here. Come on, stop playing
Just
around,
because
man.
you're
You don't really think like that, do you?
doesn't mean I offer nothing, dude. You're just not
You don't really,
satisfied because
NPC.
you don't get them.
Really think that way, do you?
Would you be satisfied if we had the same arguments?
You sound like you're trolling, bro.
He said you don't get it, bro. I just told you. It's not a lack of understanding on the flat earther's part. You can't sit there and pretend what you're saying is so difficult to understand.
Yeah, and it's not deep either. It ain't deep, bro. It's
deep. One more thing, dude. It's like NPC. That's why I named you that. Your name was something crazy before. Maybe we can just change it back to Perfect Storm or whatever. But your your contestant number 30,000, bro. So we can't sit here and pretend like you're the first person to ever say this. And the flat earthers, they've never heard this before. They definitely don't understand. Like, bro, the last 2,000 people before you said the exact same thing. It's not a lack of understanding on the flat earthers' part. It's a lack of like cowbell on your part.
He's right.
He was just talking right through you, CB.
You ain't got no meat on that sandwich, man. It's all bread and lettuce or some shit.
Well, I'm not biased, at least.
Mustard.
Yeah, you are. Flat earthers have already considered both positions. You are biased.
I mean, my position has rational explanations. Yours doesn't.
Rational? Get the fuck out of here. You're rational.
We've asked you to rationalize your worldview.
Bit you in your arse, man.
We've asked you to rationalize your worldview at every angle, and it's always substantiated by something that you already claim to know. And then we ask you, well, how do you know that? Oh, well, we just know this other thing. Well, how did you know that? Oh, well, we just already knew the original thing I claimed I knew that I didn't know.
Do you even know our position?
Ooh.
Get him, Flatsy. I got to get going, so I want to listen to you. Get him.
Also, how did you get to the top of the mountain? No, you're not going to go like step by step and like climb the mountain. You have to go at the top instantly. You can't explain how you went to the top, not how you climbed
answer
it.
what Flatsy has to tell. Dude, why don't you, Jedi, get him? This fucking guy doesn't answer any question. Just answer the question.
Do you guys even answer mine?
I've asked you 5 and you haven't answered 1 yet.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so what's the horizon?
I mean, that's a pretty basic question, my friend. Why are you asking me that?
Then, basically.
What's the horizon to you? Because, I mean, no matter what I'm going to say, you're probably going to use your own definition, so use your own.
I want you to explain to me, with words that a 5-year-old can understand, what the horizon is. Can you do that for me, please, Sunshine? No. Can you not use words of a 5-year-old? Can you not explain to me what the horizon is, being as it's in your experiment, quote unquote?
What do you mean?
What's the fucking horizon?
The farthest point you can see with your eyes? No?
Okay, so like I said earlier, if I use a telescope or high-powered zoom camera, the horizon will change around, right? You're very slow, aren't you? Yes or no?
Stupid. But like, just like the line.
Why don't you just say? Why don't you just say what's honest?
Here to meet there.
Why don't you just be what honest?
Where those would appear to meet. They don't
Why don't
actually
you
meet.
be honest? Why
Spoiler
don't you just
alert.
be honest? Why don't you just be honest? I'm not trying to make you say anything. I'm trying to understand what you say with regards to sitting down and standing up and sunsets. Now, the horizon is very poignant in this thing, being as it's said to be the curve of the Earth or the limitation of how far you can fucking see. It appears to me that, according to you, it is not the curvature of the Earth because the horizon will move around, which is going to be a huge fucking problem for your sunset experiments when we start going through that in a minute. Because that is going behind physical obstruction, you fucking idiot.
No, that has
No,
nothing to do with
not.
it.
It's
That
not.
has absolutely nothing to do with it. And
What, the
also,
horizon?
the horizon is just the line to which the Earth's surface and the sky appear to meet.
Why didn't you say
Wow.
that the first
Not
time?
curvature.
Whoa, hold on. Why didn't you say that the first time when Jedi asked you?
Oh. Looks like I
Huh?
was right on what a horizon is.
No, you actually weren't.
Well, the issue is that if you're claiming that the horizon is something that's optical, that means that you're foregoing any claims of it physically obstructing anything.
Like your sunset?
Uh-oh.
Or your boats.
There's nothing obstructing the sunset, dude. The sun is not like hiding behind buildings here. The sun sets as the Earth spins.
Sorry, the sun sets behind what as the Earth spins?
The sun is not in Earth's atmosphere.
No shit. So what happens at a sunset? Why can't I see the sun anymore?
The Earth turns, right? And so the
And
face that was facing the sun is no
and
longer facing the sun.
So
okay,
And
so
so you on that face, you will see the
yeah,
sun
yeah.
descending towards the east as this Earth spins. And
Ascending
that's
to the
towards
west.
exactly
the
what we
You
east.
to
see
the
on the
west.
Wrong way,
sunset.
bumfuck.
To
Wrong
the west,
way. It rises from the
by the
east,
way.
sets in the
Rises
west.
from the east. So yeah, okay, I might be wrong with my east and west there.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, you
not
are.
cardinally
So why
perfect.
can't I see?
I'll give
So why
that, but
can't
like,
I answer the question, dumb fuck?
I know
Why
what I'm talking about still.
not really? Why can't I see the sun anymore when it goes down? What's in the way?
Nothing's in the way. In fact, the Earth is actually in the way. Because
Nothing's in the way.
you're on
The Earth actually in the way.
okay, if you're on a
Second time.
sphere, if you're on a sphere, the other face of the sphere is in the way of the sun.
What? Would you like to try a third question and be contradicting yourself within your fucking answer, you idiot? Would you like to do that?
Get him again, Jedi. That was great. The
So
fuck?
is it or is it not the Earth that is obstructing our view to the sun? You said yes and no.
Well, I would just ask him, like, what's happening when I look at the horizon and I see only half of the sun? What's blocking it?
Yeah, what's happening there?
When you are on the surface of the Earth that is away from the sun, the part.
No,
Answer the
that wasn't my
question.
question.
Answer the question.
Okay, do you know how
My
a sphere
question was
works?
you're not answering my question. See, my question was if you're looking at the horizon and you see half of the sun, right, which happens during a sunset or whatever, what is obstructing the bottom half of the sun?
The sphere, the
Okay,
side of
so
Earth that
now
faces the sun.
okay,
Okay,
so now the horizon is we're back to the horizon being something that physically obstructs things from our view, right? But that doesn't really work since you already said that it's just something apparent, optical. So which is it apparent and optical, or is it physical and obstructing?
now you're literally being dishonest, my friend. You're
No, he's
muting
No,
not
me
that's
being
you.
while asking.
dishonest. Don't
That's
try
you.
and lie.
You're the one with the
Don't
double
try and lie.
position.
Don't lie. You've contradicted yourself twice. We're trying two things. One, for you to observe your own contradiction and be honest. And two, well, we'll get to number fucking two. So what's the horizon? Is it physical or is it optical? Which one?
Optical.
Okay, so not physical obstruction. When you gave the last answers, we can't see the second half of that sun because it's physically blocked by the sphere of the Earth.
Okay, if you're on a side of the sphere, okay, there's two sides to the sphere. Are we correct on that? Yeah, side A and
Readdress
side B.
this. I think they just dragged you like by your short hairs there. We already addressed this, so restating your position, it's already been shredded up.
I mean, no, you're not even letting me finish my position. You're like
Because they
muting
got
me after two
you
words. I
before
say
you
two
even press
words, you
start.
mute me. So you didn't even understand shit of what I'm saying. You didn't even
NPC.
hear half the shit I said, dude.
Do
You
you
didn't
know
even.
the law of
No,
non-contradiction?
yeah, that's the funny thing. We did hear what you said. You
Are you getting
contradict.
angry now?
Anyways,
The
I'm
law
gonna
of
get
non-contradiction
after.
means that
side A faces the sun. Side B faces away from the sun. What blocks the view from someone on side B from seeing the sun? It is side A. Now, if you turn that a little bit, you can have half the sun appear at the horizon from side B, but still side A is facing the sun.
Okay, cool. So in this case, the horizon would be physically obstructing the sun, correct?
It's not the horizon, no. It's the whole Earth, the side of Earth facing the sun. That's what
Yeah. So
obstructing
so
your
when you
view
see
from the
half,
sun.
so when you're looking at a sunset and you see half of the fucking sun above the horizon.
Okay, draw a dot on a sphere and light the
Oh,
sphere
for
with a
fuck's sake,
light.
dude!
So that
Come on,
We
draw a
already
dot
told,
on a sphere, really?
we already told you, NPC. We understand your position. I don't think you're. I don't.
He doesn't understand his own position.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the clip where you said, "Well, it's not obstructed. It's obstructed.
Draw a dot.
It's not the horizon. Okay, the sun's disappearing behind the horizon, but it's not the horizon." Like you're trying to. Are you figuring this out on the fly?
But the horizon isn't Earth, right? It's a line between the surface and the sky, but the surface isn't the Earth,
yeah, you
obviously.
guys just twist everything that's said to make it look different.
Not really.
No, not really. We just
Sides to a
waited.
sphere.
Dude, we've just waited for you to open your mouth, and you've displayed yourself to be an idiot every time you've opened your mouth. That's us not putting words into your mouth. That's us listening to the shit that comes out of your mouth. You said this shit. You contradicted yourself. That's not our problem. That's your fault.
Actually, I said shit that's consistent.
What, when you contradicted yourself?
I didn't
That
contradict
was
myself. You just twist everything I say.
Oh,
July.
great. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to it on blast for the whole panel. Then, so I'm gonna mute
Oh
up.
no, I'm done, John. You
And
guys
we're
have
gonna.
listened to what I say,
We're gonna
so it's okay. Plus, you're just gonna mute me at the middle of my argument,
Shut up.
just to straw man it because you're gonna
Shut
like
up.
omit
well,
the.
it's a good thing you're recorded,
Uh,
so we don't have to straw man you. We can just directly address what you said verbatim. Why don't we just do that? So give me 30 seconds, and we'll get the clip of you contradicting yourself painfully.
I just point out, dude, that this is gonna go a lot easier if you try to be a little less emotional.
Yeah, my suggestion is you do a lot of research before you come and argue with people that you think don't know what they're talking about.
the law of non
And then for the flat earthers too, a homeboy gives me some Arwen vibes. Although I'm a big fan of Arwen, but it's kind of funny. He's like our Globy Arwen. Shout out to Arwen though.
Wait, the question, fuck. I know what I'm talking about still. Not really. Why can't I see the sun anymore when it goes down? What's in the way?
Nothing's in the way.
Okay, that's one part of it. Oh, let me get the rest. Nothing's in the way, right? Hold on. Oh yeah, I should have just let it play. I should have just let it play. Hold on one sec. This is great.
I can't see the sun anymore when it goes down. What's in the way?
Nothing's in the way. In fact, the Earth is actually in the way.
Something's in the way. Yeah, well, it's nothing. Something, but nothing's in the way. Well done.
I love how he's like, but I know what I'm talking about though. And Jedi's like, not really.
The question, I know what I'm talking about still. Not really. Why can't I see the sun anymore when it goes down? What's in the way?
Nothing's in the way. In fact, the Earth is actually in the way.
I don't know why did he give us two answers at the same time? I don't understand
Oh,
that. Does that sound right?
you guys don't understand context, and you don't understand my English. Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Flat earthers just don't understand words now. That makes sense. Let's listen to it one more time.
But still,
Language
not really.
barrier.
I see the sun anymore when it goes down. What's in the way? Nothing's in the way. In fact, the Earth is actually in the way. Brilliant.
Oh man, you flat earthers just aren't listening to me properly, and you didn't hear me correctly. I mean,
Maybe you just said your words wrong.
maybe one more time for shits and giggles, or what?
But still, not really. Why can't I see the sun when it goes down? What's in the way? Nothing's in the way. In fact, the Earth is actually in the way.
Oh Lord, should we continue or what? Like, man, now he's gonna try to weasel
Now I
out.
want to get this reaction.
All right, or what is in the way? Technically, there's
see his face.
between Earth and the sun. Buildings and mountains are not blocking your view, although you said that the sun was behind the buildings. All Earth, although is in your way, is in the way of your perception. The side facing the sun can see the sun, and the side facing. So, how many sides of a sphere are there?
Technically one, but you can take two sides when you have a lit sphere. You can have the unlit side and the lit side.
Okay, all right, we lit. All right, cool, cool. I mean, but you see the problem here, right? Like, oh, nothing's blocking. It's actually behind the buildings. Oh, wait, no, it's actually behind the Earth, which is actually not the
Context of
horizon,
that,
but
as I just explained it. There's nothing blocking the sun from Earth, like as a whole. But what's blocking your perception is the fact that the side facing the sun is on the other side facing the sun. Therefore, you're on the side of the sun that can't see the sun, or can only half see the sun until you're on the side that cannot completely see the sun. There's a big difference in context here. So,
so
yes,
back to
play on the
Martha.
words all you want, mock them, do whatever you want. I understand the context, and if you don't, well, that's
Oh, well, we understand it better than you. That's how we're teaching you. But let's go back to Martot's question. When we see the sunset, right? And I see half of the sun, what is blocking the sun? Why can't I see that sun? What is
nothing is blocking the sun. The only thing blocking anything is your view. Your view is blocked by the Earth, but nothing's blocking the sun. The sun's not blocked. The sun's lighting the entire side of the Earth that is lit.
You just contradicted yourself there yet
No,
again.
I just explained the difference between the sun not being blocked by an object between Earth and the sun, while the difference of your perception being blocked. It's not the sun being blocked, it's your perception being blocked. It's a big
I think you gotta, I don't know, take 5 deep breaths, man. All right, let's do this together. Deep breath in. What's between you and the sun? The Earth. If you see a half sunset, then the Earth is the thing blocking the sun, apparently. But you keep saying over and over, nothing's blocking it. Oh, but the Earth is in the way. You see the problem? Sounds like
true. I know you're
oh,
not going to understand again, but nothing.
it's not a lack of understanding on the flat earthers' part. We actually know the globe better than you. That's why we're essentially teaching it to you now. The horizons claim to be the curve of the earth, but you're like, no, that's not true. The sun doesn't go behind the horizon. It's just,
A double standard.
yeah. We know the globe, man. You
Now
don't.
you're twisting and lying again, because when we talked about the horizon, I clearly stated that it's the limit of your perception,
Which was
and
wrong. Wait, which
or
was wrong because that doesn't match what you read out via definition afterwards, which was correct. And then you try to say, well, I was right all along. You just repeated the wrong thing. So let's go back to Martot's question. What is the sun being blocked by if I'm seeing like half of a sunset?
the horizon is not the curvature, man. So I don't know why you're saying that I said that. I didn't say that. The
Yeah.
limit of your perception.
Bro.
That's the embarrassing part. That's what you're supposed to say,
And
man.
also, when it comes to what's blocking the sun, nothing's blocking the sun. Something's blocking your perception, but not the sun. You see the difference? Your perception being blocked and the sun being blocked. There's two different things that we're talking
What's
about here.
blocking the
So the
perception then?
sun's not being blocked, but your
Cowbell.
perception is being blocked. There's a
Yes, what's that
difference
then?
there.
What's that then? Our perception is being blocked by what?
Your perception is being blocked by the other side of the planet that is being lit by the sun currently.
So the curve of the Earth, then.
So if you're on a planet that's facing a star and you're on the other side of that
We get it.
side, like
You don't have to restate your incorrect position. We're trying to help you out here, man.
nothing's in the way. In fact, the Earth is actually in the way. Like seriously.
So is the Earth in the way, blocking your view, or?
I guess you don't understand, right? You have a lit sphere. You have a face facing the light and a face not facing the
Jesus.
light.
Lord
Your
help.
question is,
We don't have questions.
not facing from the sun. Simply put, what's preventing you from seeing the sun is the fact that you're on the side facing away from the sun.
How
I
about
understand.
how about this? The sunlight isn't able to reach you. Would that also prevent you from seeing the sun?
What?
If the sunlight does not reach you, does that also prevent you from seeing the sun?
That should, yes.
Okay. So
That should, yes. And
when
the
I
sunlight doesn't
when I
reach
don't see
if
the
you
sun,
are on
when I
the
so
other
when I
side of the
don't, yeah,
world,
okay,
right?
cool. So when I don't see the sun, couldn't it just be that there's too much air in between me and wherever the sun
Can you
is?
see the sun at night? Can you see the sun at night? Why
Why
can't you
would
see
I?
the sun at night?
Why would I? You know what night
I
is,
mean,
right?
yeah, night is basically you're on the
Yeah,
side of the Earth
when
that
you
is
don't see
facing
the sun
away
in the
from the
sky, that's
sun.
night. Yeah, when you
Huh?
don't see the sun, that's night. Cool. And
What?
I'm trying to determine if the sun is being blocked by the Earth is the only valid explanation for not being able to see the sun, and I don't think it is.
That's not the context that I was saying it in. I literally just explained
Why are you
that
so
if you're
emotional,
on
dude?
this,
Dude,
you're
calm
on the
down. Take
side
a
of the
walk and come
sphere
back or
that's
something.
facing away from the sun.
Holy, this is painful. So on a globe, you have someone on one side and someone's on the other. And those two people can't see each other, not because the Earth's in the way, but their perception's blocking their own views of seeing each other. I mean, I don't know why you feel the need to explain a position that, number one, we all understand a lot better than you. So you don't need to restate anything. We're basically trying to help you out at this point, because you're saying a bunch of things that are not correct or consistent with the claimed globe idea.
I don't know. He just sounds too emotional to even like be able to listen to what we have to say.
I would agree. Let's take some deep breaths. You want to take a walk or something?
If you take 20,000 miles, yes, you will have curvature blocking you because there's 20,000 miles and the curvature will be significant enough. Do that with 3,000 miles and you will not be affected by curvature at all.
Really, that's weird because like I have
1,000
this.
miles, you will not be
hold
able to
on.
see
I wasn't
20,000 miles.
sir. I wasn't finished talking. Thanks. That's actually really weird because they have this formula for predicting the horizon distance, right? Were you aware of that, or?
And okay, give me that formula.
Sure, it's 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's it.
Okay.
So what this comes down to is that if I'm, say, at the beach, the horizon is supposed to be, according to this prediction, somewhere 1 mile, 3 miles in between there, depending on my height, right? Whether I'm standing right at the water or I'm swimming in the water, it's going to change a little because obviously the observer height will change.
Don't think
So
that
that's
that's
it. So
accurate.
you were talking about 3,000 miles and not being able to see any curve or whatever, but they're
No, I'm not
predicting
talking
that the
about not seeing the
horizon
curve. I'm saying if you're looking 20 miles ahead, you will see the other.
they're predicting that at the beach you should only be able to see about 3 miles. That's their prediction.
So I don't see why you need 3,000 miles when 3 miles is
Actually,
enough.
3 miles will not present enough curvature to block your view. No.
That's their prediction. Yes. If you want me
Wow.
to post a math, if you want me to post a math for you, I can do that. Maybe you can take a look at that and stop embarrassing yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna have to stop the show on that one, NPC. We're gonna have to address that one. Because now you're getting into BYOB territory where now you've got your own globe that you made up. You brought your own globe to the party. Well, you can keep that. Leave that globe at the door because we already know what the globe claims are, and you're not really aligning yourself with those claims. So you're like, oh well, 3 miles. That's not where the curve is. Well, now we have to address that. So what we're gonna have to do here is, we're in 24/7. I keep thinking we're apologetics. It's called How the Horizon Works. Let's see. Let me just get this clip and we'll take a listen together. And you can tell us, friend, whether you agree or disagree with this gentleman here in this clip, because he's going to tell you basically what we just told you. And he's not a flat earther. So let's take a listen. 60 seconds.
Hi, I'm Josh Clark, and this is Brain Stuff, and I'm here to answer a very pressing question. Have you ever been standing at the edge of water, say like an ocean, and looked out on the horizon and said, I wonder exactly how far away that horizon is? You know, where the sky meets the sea, that's the horizon. Well, it turns out because the Earth is curved that it depends on where you're standing and how far above water you're standing. Let's say that you are in the water, right? And you're up to, say, your eyes are about 8 inches above the water surface. Well, again, remember the Earth is curved, and despite the ocean seeming flat, they actually curve themselves, which if you've ever really looked at the horizon, it kind of goes like this a little bit, which is pretty cool. But it also goes like this, right? So if your eyes are 8 inches above the water, right then you're about a mile away from that horizon point where the sky meets the ocean as far as you can tell. If you're standing up above water and you're like I am about 6 feet tall, that means your eyes are about 5.5 feet above the water's edge, which means that you're about 3 miles away from the horizon. Isn't that amazing? Going from 8 inches above water, 5.5 feet above water, is the distance between 2 miles between you and the horizon.
Uh-oh. Let's get a quick reaction from NBC. Go ahead.
So you mean basically from 3 miles, you can see basically an inch of curvature. That's not going to block your view.
That's not what he said.
Yeah, you just completely missed the point, right? So let me summarize it for you real quick. If you're 6 foot height at the beach, you should have a horizon at 3 miles that is blocking everything from your view that is beyond 3 miles. Get it?
That's not
Because
what
3
it's saying.
miles, 3
Guys
miles
are
would be
trying
where
to
the
say.
hump is, where the physical obstruction
Hey,
of the earth starts
if
blocking
I
stuff
send
from
an
your
image
view.
to will anyone post it in the chat?
Post what?
An image.
Well, how about you take a look at the formula I posted first?
I'm going to post an image to someone who will post it in the chat only.
Now, we're not talking about images at the moment. We're talking about formulas and horizon distance.
Okay, but that's just calculations, right? It's not measurements.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's actually a prediction, a calculation that the globe makes based on the radius and observer height. The problem is that when we go outside to check this, it's wrong.
Just straight off Google, from the ground, a human's vision range is up to 3 miles until the horizon line.
Yes, that is the limit of the perception, though. Not the limit
You're just,
curvature will block your view.
let's be honest, you're just
That is
winging it.
that is their exact claim. Yes, that's their claim. The thing you're saying that it's not, that's what they're claiming, right? Because
You're just
that's what's blocking the bottom of boats, right? The surface of the earth.
If you're honest enough, you'll at least post this in the chat.
You're not even being honest with yourself, man. That's why we have to teach you things. So you're
Yeah.
feeling like you need to teach us. Like you're getting this whole thing wrong. The reason why you can't see
I am
past the
showing
horizon
you
is because it's
you.
meant to be the curve of the Earth. So when you turn around and say, "No, oh, it's not the curve of the Earth," well, now you sound like a flat earther.
Hey, dude. In what I just sent to FE Jedi, if he posts it, there is a perfect to scale representation of what 3,000 kilometers and its curvature would look like on a 40,000 kilometer sphere, with 2 skyscrapers also on that the
Oh,
picture
this
But
should be
there.
good. This should be good.
all right, Jedi, you go on that. But like, what reality should look like, based compared to what it does look like.
Oh, there
Well,
is a comparison. Go
huh?
ahead, post it. Look at it.
But what is this a
Go
rebuttal
ahead.
to that you
Are you gonna
can
post
see
it?
past 3
I
miles,
mean,
or what is
you
your
want to post it, Bear or someone else?
argument?
I mean, it's a picture that has arguments in it, yes, but
If it's a to scale representation, that's not a picture.
I mean, yes, a 2 scale representation can be done on a picture, yes.
So it's a picture of the Earth.
I mean, I could send you the pictures and videos of when I made a sphere out of the representation. Yes, I could do that too.
What is your
I
argument,
could
bro?
post all visual representations I made through this. Yes.
But what is your argument? What are you fighting against here?
He made his own globe.
Yeah, that's right. You do have your own globe, don't you?
That's not a own globe. I'm just using the official size of the Earth that is used, which is 40,000
Yeah, so
kilometers.
so are we. So are we, and
All
that's
right.
where we get the
So
prediction from
okay,
horizon
so
distance
I'm
from,
using 40,000 kilometers here for my globe Earth.
as a circumference.
40,000
Sure.
kilometers.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
not changing that number. I'm using the same number everyone's using here.
Yeah,
40,000
sure.
kilometers. And then I'm dividing this 40,000 kilometer circle by 13 13 partitions being 3,000 kilometers on its own. And I have 2 skyscrapers on one of these partitions, on both edges of them, and you see that there's barely any curvature blocking any view in, etc.
Hold on. So
And
you're saying hold on. Hold
this
on. So you're saying
the
that you
first
have
2 pictures.
2 skyscrapers at 3,000 miles, and there's no curvature blocking it.
Look at the image that I posted at 55
Okay.
minutes past the hour.
And there's a second one, which is the circle I was talking about, which is to scale with 40,000 kilometers.
You know,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Really quickly, you said this was a to scale image, right?
Do you know what to scale means?
Yeah, I know what it means. How tall are those buildings?
Okay, the top part is made by flat earthers.
No.
That's
How
debunked. That's wrong.
tall
The
are those
bottom
buildings?
part is what you're see. The bottom part is the right representation. The upper part is a misrepresentation from flat earthers.
Both of these are complete.
The
No,
first one is
both of these are
completely
completely
the
incoherent.
skyscrapers are like 600 kilometers high, something like that, even 1,000 kilometers high. Whereas even on my to scale representation, I do have, let's say, very large skyscrapers, and if
Yeah,
you
they're
would
still a
make them
couple hundred
smaller,
miles.
they would still be to level. You see, they
No, it
would still
wouldn't.
be to
But
level
dude,
if you make them
you
smaller.
need to look at the actual formulas for like horizon distance and obscured height at distance and all this, because a skyscraper should be gone at like 30, 40, 50 miles. You
Except
shouldn't
that
be
it's
able to see a skyscraper at 3,000 miles. That's absolute insanity, and that would actually debunk the globe.
well, if you look
So
at the portion of curvature here, the curvature that we have from my circle, it's not
that's
really
a
absurd because that's a
it's a
3,000 mile
cartoon.
distance. And guess what?
That's a cartoon.
yeah, we need the actual math and data. So that's building height, distance, and then the formulas for horizon distance, obscured hidden height, etc. That's what we need, not some picture that you drew in MS Paint, for fuck's sake.
To scale my ass. We just went over it. You don't have measurements for anything to reference a scale anyway. We're not going to go off of your little cartoon here. That's
Oh,
crazy.
he came in trying to double down on Eratosthenes. So
Classic. And one thing to highlight, folks, flat earthers don't make that top image, bro. I've been in the flat earth for a long time. you're not going to find a flat earther presenting that as like, oh, well, this is their globe. Like, that's not a flat earthers don't make shit like that. At least from my understanding, we don't think the Earth is curved. So anyway, you got something else, man? Because about an hour and a half ago, we could verify the Earth to be a sphere. We haven't got to that just yet. To scale.
It is to scale.
You don't have reference to scale.
I do have reference. 40,000 divided by 13. I have a circle
When I say you don't have reference, I mean you need measurements to determine whether that's really.
in slices. Okay. I don't think you understand how a scale works. I don't think you understand how a scale works.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's because you're not that intelligent. You think we don't understand basic things. That's cool, but it's not really helpful to the discussion, right? And if that is actually what you think, then why the fuck are you here trying to explain it to us?
Yeah, you're in the wrong place if you think that, oh, well, these flat earthers have never heard of the globe before. Like, we understand it better than you. That's why we're calling you out. So it's not a lack of understanding on the flat earthers' part. I think you're the one who might lack some understanding here, friend. So you don't have a reference to scale because there's no measurements to refer to.
Not even letting me post a reference to scale.
Because there's nothing to post. You don't have
Oh,
measurements.
really? There's nothing to post? What about my...
Should have posted those measurements probably, I don't know, an hour and a half ago when we requested them for the first time.
saying?
So you don't have any measurements.
How about you post my circle, which is to scale?
You don't have a reference to scale.
Yes, it is a very good reference. Do you know how scales in mathematics work? You draw a circle.
You're arguing with emotion, not logic or data.
The fact that I'm challenging your reference to scale would probably highlight the fact that I do understand scale. So if you wanted to maybe counter what I'm saying, you would just post measurements of the globe to say, well, here's the reference. Here's our measurements. That's why I understand scale and you don't. I know my height as a human being. And if I wanted to scale it up or scale it down, I could, right? Well, you don't have measurements of the globe to then refer to some sort of scale to either compare or scale it up or scale it down for your little cartoon here. You're gonna need some measurements first to then start referring to, well, we got it to scale. So go get the measurements then. Or we can just rip the Band-Aid off and tell you they don't exist.
So you're basically saying that if I draw a circle and define this circle by 40,000 kilometers, and I slice it in two, I do not have a to scale 20,000 kilometers on each side?
You haven't determined where are you getting the 40,000 from? Because that hasn't been established.
We have established already that 40,000 kilometers is the general size of Earth, whether flat or globe, right?
No, hell no. No. Do you want to ask that again?
Okay, well, if your flat Earth isn't 40,000 kilometers for the whole thing, all right. But if I'm using a circle defining 40,000 kilometers and slicing it into 13 portions.
You get that part. I'm challenging the fact that before you even get to the 40,000 part, we have to get that
portion is 3,000.
We're not going to just pull those numbers out of our asshole. We have to go and determine, well, 40,000, why that? Obviously, your circle has to have a size. So
now we have to go back to how we get the circumference of the Earth. But to get the circumference of the Earth, I don't believe in the sun positions and stuff like that and the mathematics and calculations. So fuck that, yeah.
Really, what it actually is I think you just auto believe that these are default positions and there's no need to even ask questions like, do we have the actual position of the sun to then make statements based off of this? What it isn't is flat earthers just calling things fake. We're addressing things face value. If you say, well, Eratosthenes measured the earth, well, let's take a fine-tooth comb and go through it to find out whether that's true or not. What you're doing is just, well, it's automatically all true don't even ask questions. Why would we do that? So we're gonna need those measurements, man. Sorry, there's no way around it.
It's okay to ask questions, but when you're asking measurements for things that you either can't measure or don't need to be measured,
Which you said have already been verified and measured.
yes,
So now it's
yes,
now it's
using
now
the method.
now it can't be measured and don't need to measure it. What changed?
Measured using methods that you're not satisfied with because
That has to do with I'm not setting any parameters for you. You have to measure it the way I say. I would just like some measurements to begin with. That would be nice.
if you want a specific measurement, position of the sun, measure the shadow it casts. Repeat that every day and do that on 2 locations. You'll have measurements.
Can we address that
But
though?
of course, that's not enough for you.
Let's address it because obviously we don't just take things. Oh, there's no need to even address anything. You just gotta auto believe Eratosthenes. Can we actually go through it and find out if this is valid or not? Or for you, it's a default, automatically true. Don't even ask questions. Is that really
No, I
your
mean,
position?
it's okay to go through it, but if you're going to be
Listen,
denying things and
on
like
hold, then
cherry picking, oh, but that's not actually
let's not deny anything then. Let's actually go through it
that's wrong,
specifically.
man.
Okay, well, let's not deny anything. Let's go through it and find
Yeah, let's
out.
go through it.
All right. So let's start with step one. You're saying the measurement of the earth. Let's be specific. So that we're going to go off of whatever measurement you think exists. So what would that measurement be that we can address?
I mean, you can measure it with the shadows, a sundial, anything shadows and the sun together. You can pretty much take measurements of that. The double beach sunset experiment, which you again mock and laugh at, but fail
All
to
right, you're not
understand the
going to let us.
mathematics at which to give you an actual circumference of the planet you're living on.
You're not going to let us address things specifically, or we're just going to do this whole like coping. You guys don't believe me
I don't care if you
automatically.
guys don't believe me. That's not my point there. I mean, you guys don't believe me. That's fine.
That,
But I
that's
mean, none of you. I mean, you yourself are probably making a better effort than the others to actually try and understand me and get to something, which I appreciate, and we're probably going to get somewhere because of that. But the others, they weren't like that at all.
I actually think they're more like me than you think. But anyway, let's just go through it. So give us a measurement, and then let's go through the method and make sure that the methodology is valid. So you
All
can
right.
whatever you want to start
Well,
with.
can someone post that like little circle I was talking about because it contains measurements and so on? Maybe not from the real world, but you can compare them with real world measurements after that. That's not a problem. So
Bro.
for the sake of argument,
Measurements not from the real world? What?
Let's draw a circle and then make measurements on that circle. Yeah, that sounds like a
okay,
good
yeah,
idea,
we're on
dude.
Discord here. I'm gonna go on a boat and do celestial navigation from my apartment. Come on, dude. Thank you for posting this circle. Now,
Well, if you
this
were
is
a real
not
glober, you would actually go out there and make real measurements.
again. This is just representing what the curvature would look like on a
But
40,000 kilometer.
we
But we're
understand
imagining.
that NPC. Hold on. I gotta. You're gonna have to make me pass the mic. 'Cause I'm gonna blow a fuse if you keep doing this thing where you're like, "Let me tell you what a globe would be like," as if no one here understands what a sphere or a circle or the nature of a circular object. Stop pretending like we don't know what a sphere is, man.
Okay, can we just agree that if that circle there is 40,000 kilometers circumference, that each portion, the 13 divided portions of it, are 3,000 kilometers on the surface? Can we agree on that?
We don't have any issue with the math. The math is mathing, all right. But the problem is we have to determine those numbers. Essentially, I would say you just pulled out of thin air or out of your rear end. We have to determine
Okay,
this.
fine. I haven't give you the real world measurements. That's fair. But can we still focus and consider this before moving to that? Because I mean, you can't just skip this.
Bro, we know
You're
math
imagining.
just like you do. You're like, but I need to know if 2 plus 2 is 4 first before I measure this 2 by 4. We know the math works. Now we need to go and find out whether it matches reality. Stop
Okay,
presuming
good.
that we don't understand a globe. Well, do you understand that a globe, if you broke it down
Okay,
into four parts, 25% each? Like, dude, we understand that part. Now we have to go and determine, is this matching reality? Measurements from the real world, like Zetetic called
correct.
out for. Ryan in the chat,
Correct.
how did you get the value of 40,000? That's the whole point, bro. We don't need
If
a
I
cartoon of
apply
a circle
this,
to explain how it
okay,
would work. I understand that. Now we need the
okay,
actual meat, the freaking
yes,
we need the cowbell now.
yeah. So how do we apply this with the real world to verify it? Right. That's good. Well asked. So what you need to do basically is you run the experiment. Let's say you choose those that 3,000 mile distance, 3,000 kilometer distance, and you check if it's actually possible.
Wait. Stop, stop, stop.
If the
Stop, stop,
distances
stop,
match from the
stop,
views.
stop. You just jumped. We don't even have a foundation yet. You're like, well, let's just pick 3,000. We're not gonna just pick
This
random
is based
numbers. You
on
have
an
to we
experiment
need
that was done. Okay.
measurements. No, that's not how this is gonna work. We need to go and measure the real world. Okay, we're not gonna just randomly pick. Let's just pick 3,000 and then go from that. Choose a distance. No. So we need something in reality that we can go and do to measure the surface of the earth to determine what it is. So we're not gonna just quote choose 3,000, whatever the hell that means.
Okay. Well, I mean, you could walk the distance, I guess.
We keep saying the distance as if that's a default thing we already know. We have to determine or establish what is the size of the earth. How has that been established? Let's not go into it assuming number one, it's already a sphere and already has a known size. Those things are both unknown. So we actually have to go out into the field to do something to determine whether those things are true or not. For you, they're just default automatically true. And they don't really, for you, you're saying, well, I don't even need to measure, which is crazy. But we're trying to help you understand that you're gonna need to measure to have these
Okay.
values.
So, when it comes to needing to measure and etc., do you need like it to be measurable by one individual person, and that every individual person must be able to do it on themselves alone? Or would you accept that, let's say, a collective of people that can work together and use technologies to get
Look,
these
Feel,
measurements
feel
and
free to set
things?
yourself
Would
up
that
with
count?
whatever conditions you feel
Would,
most comfortable with. But now we're
would
just wasting
multiple
time.
people using technologies to
All right, bro. Let's just get it because the point is we need to get to how do we get that value? Don't, well, is it okay if we all hold hands and do it? Do whatever you want. We just need the measurements now.
not what I'm asking. I'm asking, is it okay if
Stop asking and start just getting the measurements. People in the chat are getting pissed off, right? How do you get the value of 40,000? You need to measure before you assume. How do you get the value of 40,000? Before you start explaining, how did you get the value of 40,000? How? What technology is okay? We need to know how we're
value
getting
from the
the
double
values.
sunset experiment? Because I did that one myself. So I got those values from the double sunset experiment that you all
Now, what you said is what we could do is go through it with a fine tooth comb just to double check the methodology. So let's do that. So
yeah,
let's start with
I did mention that anyone could do the same double sunset
all right, great.
experiment and do the
Let's
same calculation.
let's do it together. Let's start with step one. So let's start with step one because
Right?
we're gonna go through it with a fine tooth comb, and make sure it's valid, right? When it's not, we're just gonna accept it because you say so, right? So what's the step one for the methodology? And are we measuring the Earth right now? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, if you
Because
want to
we need
take
to
in
get
all the factors, we're going to be here for fucking weeks. So we should try to keep things more simple. But I mean, I do get that we should also try and commit to as many factors as possible. But we should find a balance here, because I mean, if you're going to ask me to calculate with using the sun, but then you have to prove to me that my calculation that the distance that the light takes to take the time it takes for the light to reach me is accurate, well then I have to explain that and explain how the other thing. So you see, we have to not go through that kind of rabbit hole either.
But what we're also not going to do
Because
is just
I can tell you that like we could use technology to determine how much time it takes for the light to reach us from the sun, and
Bro, you're waffling.
theoretically, what the sun.
You're waffling like crazy. We're supposed to measure the Earth to determine these values that you said. Well, let's just pick 3,000. Well, okay. Well, where do we get 3,000 from? Let's just get to it, man. You're wasting time.
Hey, like CD, let me
That was
ask you this.
run by people.
Hold on,
Okay, so
NPC. Let me ask you this, all right? Like, if you told me that you were a size 12
move the goalposts,
shoe,
move the goalposts, move the
if you
goalposts.
told no, if you told me you were a size 12 shoe and you never measured your foot, how would you know you're a size 12 shoe?
Shadows. Just calculate. Just
Yeah,
lay down on the beach.
just calculate. Just draw a shoe size, and that's it. That's what it is, dude.
That's what
If
I
you
mean.
if you take a
Complete
shoe and then
strawman.
draw it into like 13 sections, and then each section actually mathematically, yeah, so yeah, that's how it works. Just break it into 13 sections, and then yeah, you don't even need to measure it.
You see the absurdity of that, NPC.
The
Like if you
circle
want to
and
measure
3,000
something, measure
kilometers.
it.
Hello, can we stay on
Measure
target?
it.
Hello, we're waiting
Measure
for
it.
the measurements. Yeah, go now, get measurements. That's what we need.
That's not fair, man. You guys keep moving the goalposts and asking me multiple questions on multiple subjects.
The same question we've been waffling around and tap dancing around for I don't know what is it now, chat? Let's see, 208. It's now been 7 minutes of people asking you for the exact same thing. 7 minutes. How many times has JPR in the chat asked the same question? How do you get the value of 40,000? We probably asked that for now, probably closer to 10 minutes.
Using
So
those
hurry up.
straw men. Can I clarify those things so you stop using the straw man? When I talked about the circle and the 3,000 kilometers, etc., it was about another subject, about the curvature of the Earth, to show that it would take even 3,000 kilometers and you would still see at that distance if you'd have the telescope too. Okay, that was the argument for that. It has nothing to do with how do you calculate the Earth's radius. Now, how you calculate the Earth's radius, you can use the sun to do that. And that's why I mentioned the light distance from the sun, because you need to know how far the sun is to have proper calculations. So, yeah, I'm actually trying to give you the right steps to consider the right things to measure and calculate to get to the Earth's circumference. But you're all going all over the place and cherry picking one word and one thing and then that and then. But the circle
How,
didn't have anything to
how do you
do
know
with
the
that.
distance to the sun?
So what?
How do you know the distance to the sun?
How do you know the distance of the sun? Exactly.
Yeah.
You calculate the time it takes for the light of the sun to reach Earth.
How do
See,
you know
you
that?
have the speed of light. It's a
How do you
constant.
know that? How do you know the distance to the sun?
Oh my god. So you're telling me that humans and scientists have never tested light at all and don't know anything about light, and we don't.
I didn't hear him say
How
that.
do you how do you calculate the one-way speed of light?
That uses lights and dark technology is made by people that don't even know how.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on. You can calculate the circumference of the
We don't know the
average.
speed of light. We don't
You
know the
can
speed of light.
calculate the average circumference of the equator, flat or globe. This doesn't prove your side.
It's on it. How do you know the speed of light?
You don't realize
I'm not the scientist that discovered everything that there is about light, but I can understand things, and I can understand there is a speed
So
of
just say
light.
I don't know. So just say I don't know.
you realize NPC, you're just talking while muted. No one's hearing you because you're not having a conversation with people. You're just rumpusing the shit out of
And
everyone.
that forms a circumference at the equator. This doesn't prove anything about the shape.
Guys, keep being dishonest, I guess.
We're not being
To
dishonest.
yourselves and to me and to others.
No one's being
So,
dishonest.
so how did they measure the circumference of the Earth?
Kind of getting into, yeah.
We're
How
not
did they measure the
asking you
circumference of the Earth?
I mean, so we can't agree on a constant speed of light.
that hasn't been determined yet. Again, these things aren't
Hasn't been
default.
determined yet. Okay.
Sir, you gotta keep this in mind. For you, what we don't do for you is just assume our position as default, and you must accept it because we accept it.
Okay.
We have to make an
Okay.
argument for your position. When you keep
So,
saying like, "Oh, so you just don't automatically accept what I'm saying as true?"
all right.
No, that's the whole point. You have to back up or make a case for your position. Saying, "Oh, well, you
So,
deny," that's not an argument.
so scientifically, there is a consensus between the whole entire scientific community, which of course you're going to strawman as just fake. They
No, that's
have a speed of
promising,
light constant.
brother. Does anyone want to hear this garbage? That's an appeal to a consensus fallacy. That's not evidence for the thing you're
And
claiming.
their calculations are right. And if I read their paper,
Dude,
Bro.
so do I need to go look up the
NPC,
paper
you're
on
talking to yourself right now, Storm. You're talking to yourself right now, dude. No one's hearing you.
Why is he
well,
even
anyways,
talking about the speed of light?
Because
do I
He's talking
need to
about the speed
read
of
a
light from the
paper
sun to Earth.
on how to figure out the light speed really
that,
out
that
loud?
again, you would be doing this for
Come
your
on, man.
own
You guys can't
benefit.
look that up yourselves. I mean, maybe if you look up the speed of light and how to get it, I mean, you're probably going to get a very straightforward
You're
answer, better
talking
than
to
what I can say.
yourself. You're just talking to yourself, okay? You've been challenged because we do understand it. We don't need to go read a paper. That would be for your benefit. Now, one more time.
Okay, so we can agree that there is
NPC,
the speed of
we
light.
don't agree on shit yet because you haven't established anything. You just move the
Okay, I'm
goalposts back and back
establishing the
and back.
speed of light. You use the speed of
So,
light times 8 minutes, you have 90 million miles. What's the problem?
what's been
How
established?
do you know that? What did you do to measure that?
The time it takes for light to reach us, 8 minutes
How do
at
you
the
know
speed of
that?
light. That's 90 million miles. It's simple. If you're going
Did
100
you assume
miles
it?
per hour and you drive for an hour, you will have done 100 miles.
Okay. So did you go to the sun and measure the two-way speed of light? Because you can't measure the one-way speed of light. So did you measure the two-way speed of light from the sun to the earth and back to the sun? It's fucking dumb, dude.
Did
You're
you
getting
go to the sun and turn on a flashlight and we waited till it got here? Is that how we measured it? You went to the sun?
So you're basically saying that we do not have technologies and ways to
No, you
measure.
know what? No one's saying any of those words. Pretty sure you just said those words. I think what we're doing is we're holding you accountable to the words that you said, right? Oh, we already know these things. Well, how do you know? Well, you don't know? Well, how do you know, friend?
That was hilarious. Sorry, you don't agree that we have
Jedi.
technology ways. That's fucking funny, man. What the
This
fuck?
all started with the circumference of the Earth being 40,000 kilometers, and we asked how did they measure it, and that's literally what this whole conversation has been about. It's how do they measure the circumference of the Earth?
And just want to get in, pretty sure I called it when I was like, well, we just already know this other thing. Oh, well, how do you know that? Well, we already know this other thing. Well, how did you know that? Well, we just already know this other thing. You see what I'm saying? When
Hmm.
we start to go through your methodology, it ain't really valid because it's all based upon, well, we just already knew previously. And this confirms we were accurate all along. I don't think so. You don't have a leg to stand on. You don't
It's a
have a heart.
classic spiral, though.
So somehow we've got onto the distance to the sun. Awesome.
Well, yeah, because he wanted to talk about six and shadows, and that we knew the distance to the sun based off of the speed of light. That's how we know the distance to the sun.
No, no,
Fucking retarded.
no.
How is that retarded?
Where does that
Tell,
8 minute?
how
Where
is that
does that 8 minutes come from?
okay?
Where's that
If
eight
you're
minutes
going
come from?
300,000 kilometers second,
Where's the eight
and it
minutes
takes
come
you
from?
8 minutes
We
to
get
reach
that,
destination.
brother. We get that part. Now, how do you? What at Jedi? Can you ask your question again?
Where's the 8 minutes come from?
How'd they get 8 minutes, NPC?
I just said, if You're traveling at 300,000 kilometers a
We
second.
understand math, dude. Stop trying to teach us math. So if you're driving at 60 miles per hour and you drive for 1 hour, like we get that part. You haven't explained now how you got 8 minutes from the sun to the earth.
I mean, do you want
Okay.
me to make it easier for you?
You can measure the redshift of the light of the stars, by the way.
Stop the
And
cap.
another way, you can also use other known stellar objects in the same
Other
neighborhood
stuff
and
now.
use
Why are you talking
parallax
about other stuff?
measurements
Dude,
and take
why are
them
you talking
6
about
months
other
apart
stuff?
as Earth orbits the
Why other
sun.
stuff?
And yes, you will have your measurements.
Okay, so how did
But
you get
no,
8 minutes?
that's not
So
satisfying for you, right?
why
That's not
eight
enough, right?
minutes? Where does this
That's
arbitrary 8 minutes come from? Why 8 minutes? Why not
300 kilometers
25
per
minutes?
second x 90 million miles.
Okay,
8 minutes.
okay,
That's
so
simple.
90
That
million miles. So how did you get the 90 million miles then? Was it because of 8 minutes?
Yes,
How
we
did
can
you get?
also do the reverse
No,
equation.
I want to know how you got the distance to the
We can
sun. You said
measure
8 minutes.
fucking
Hold
light.
on. We can measure light. Okay, so it takes 8 minutes for the light to get here from the sun that's 93 million miles away. Okay, so how did you get the 93 million miles?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else did we automatically knew previous to
But
that?
the distance of the sun alone, all right, without using light, sure.
No, no, I don't
Here
Oh,
want you
at
to start
Venus,
changing.
okay.
No,
No,
dude, I
no.
don't want you
You
to
measure
start
the
changing
distance from
goalposts. I
Earth to
want you to
Venus.
keep to the
stop,
Measure the
goalposts I
distance
place.
from
stop,
Earth to Venus, and
Go
then
stop,
use Venus.
stop, stop. Jedi,
Oh,
please go.
see,
Stop moving the
exactly. You don't even
goalposts. I
fucking
just want you to
answer. You
answer the
don't even
things that
care
I'm
to hear the
asking
answer.
you.
You
That's all.
don't even care to hear the answer.
You're
That's
talking
fine.
to yourself, NPC. You're literally talking to yourself. You're not having a conversation with anyone here. You're talking to yourself. When you ask a question and then answer it on your own, you'll be like, "So, but I'll give you evidence, but you wouldn't believe it, right? Yeah, you wouldn't. So I'm just gonna like." You're talking to yourself, dude. Jedi has a question for you. Listen
Yes,
and
I
answer
know.
the question.
How did you get the 93 million miles?
How did they get the 93 million miles? Ask them.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
thought
not
this was
giving
your
a fuck.
fucking claim. I thought you knew about this. I thought this was to
I
somehow
do,
prove.
but everything I say you don't take. So I'm
No,
gonna
because I want you
tell
to
you to
back
do
it
your
up.
own
I
research at
don't.
this point
I don't
because
understand why you
no
keep
matter
talking.
what
This
I
isn't
give
a
you don't
conversation.
understand what I'm saying.
I
You see
don't
how you're talking to
understand.
yourself
The
again?
fuck.
You're talking to yourself again, NPC. Stay focused here. There's other people in this panel who would love to speak with you and not just listen to you provide verbal diarrhea from the mouth to yourself. Okay? When we're not just not liking what you're saying. When you say, "Well, I know this," and we say, "How do you know that?" Well, you go, "Well, I already knew this other thing." All we're going to do is ask you how you knew that other thing. Then you say, "Well, I just knew already this other thing." You see the problem here? We're looking for
Yes,
where
I
you
mentioned
originally established
I
this knowledge.
mentioned this problem earlier actually when I was saying, look, you're gonna ask me to like explain to you the size of the earth and how I get to that, but for that I need to explain the other measurements that I'm getting. You're gonna ask me how I get that, how I get that, how I
You
get that,
need
how
a
I get that. And
foundation. Yeah, you need a foundation to build upon. Right now, you don't have one.
to the how do you get that and understand that you can get
You're
that from
still
what you already
talking to yourself again. You've been muted this whole time. Okay, NPC, listen. Please listen, right? We want to have a conversation with you. Stop talking to yourself.
okay.
Well, of course, we're going to
You
ask you
want
for
a real way to measure the fucking curvature of the earth? Use GPS systems and satellites. Oh, of course, NASA and all space agencies are fake, so I don't
There
believe
we
them.
go. Why is
you're,
he
you're
answering his own fucking
talking to
question again?
yourself again, dude.
Why
It's
do you
weird.
do this? Think about this. Why is it every single time you make a statement, at the end of your statement, you'll feel so insecure that you have to poison the well? Why do you do that? You always have to
Because
come with some narky fucking comment at
I
the
mean, I
end
wouldn't
saying that,
have to poison. I do
why are you
admit that there's
talking?
a little bit of whale poisoning,
I
but I
don't
wouldn't have to
understand
poison.
why you're talking. It's just showing insecurity. Every single time that you start talking, it's insecure because you don't want to listen to what's being said to you. Fucking weird behavior, man.
It is. It is. Just take a few deep breaths, man. Like genuinely. I think Ethergris wants to chime in as well.
I was really just going to say, good afternoon, gentlemen. I hope all is well, but it was a bit noisy when I first stopped in.
What's up, Mr. Chris? Long time.
Doing good. Staying blessed. Anyway, y'all go your combo. Don't let me interrupt.
Gotta hit him with my basket of loose cables analogy. You essentially just have a basket with a bunch of wires, USBs, box chargers, mount, all bunch of technology and cords and things, right? So what we can do is some of those things will connect, right? This USB might plug into this and that might plug into that. The issue is that whole basket doesn't have any power. Nothing has any power, even though the things in the basket will connect. So what you're doing is you're essentially just connecting things within the basket, but you don't have any power to any of this stuff. What we're trying to do is get you to plug your whatever your original thing is into the wall so you actually have some power to now connect these other things. Or if you want to build a house, you need a foundation to lay it upon and then you build atop that. Okay, you don't start with like, well, I know the color of like the baby's room when you don't have any foundation. There's no wood, there's nothing built yet. You need a foundation first. You even said, well, we know the speed of light or the distance is 8 minutes because the distance of the sun is 90 million miles. It's like, wait, so how do you know that? Oh, you're really just gonna ask me how I know all these things? Yeah, because you're claiming you have
Not
knowledge.
what I said. That's not that's not what I said either.
Yeah,
Let's
that's what
back
you
to the
said.
point. Back to the point. How do you get all this and na? All right. There are sciences. There are maths you can do. There are measurements you can take all
Oh,
over the place. You can check the density of the Earth. You can check gravity. You can check tidal
oh,
force. Yeah.
oh.
What's funny is we've been asking you for those things very specifically for the last 2 hours now, and now we're just going back to the bluffing. We're like, oh, I have the winning cards. Well, we've been asking you to put the cards on the table for the last, I don't know how long. So just telling us, well, there's tons of science and measurements and proof. Well, if there's so much, why did we just spend the last 2 hours trying to twist your arm to give us at least just one?
That you're just denying and predismissing.
There's not, you haven't
Like, for
Like
presented.
what?
example, I just mentioned satellites and GPS. If you own a satellite, you can see everything.
Didn't even get to address it because you started the cope immediately after. Oh, but you'd say it was fake. Like, okay, so we don't get to address your like the claim. It's just automatically true, right? That's your issue. For you, your worldview is just default true. Anyone questioning it, oh, there's something wrong with you. It's like, so I don't know, man. This is wild, Jedi. Save us, man.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I tried to help him by pointing out his behaviour was weird. His next retort was weird fucking behaviour, exactly in the way that I described. Asking a question and saying that we'd fucking deny it. I asked you about satellites, but you fucking deny it. And oh, fucking hell. All right, well, let's talk about that then. You can't
I
just throw out random fucking claims and say that we're just going to deny them without letting us fucking challenging you on them specifically. And it's within the specifics you'll find out that whatever you're throwing at us will just start to fall apart. But hey, we won't even fucking get to that.
You would end up tripping over your confidence with this whole GPS and satellites thing anyway, because what we wouldn't do is sit along and pretend with you that even if the Earth was a globe, that we would just spray and pray technology up into the sky without prior knowledge. Like if we need to orbit something, you're gonna need to know the size of the thing you're about to orbit. Like if I even just with simple things, if I bought a Roomba, one of those little robot vacuum cleaners that'll just like vacuum your house or whatever. Like it goes around and sort of measures the room, and then after that, well, now it can orbit your bed or whatever. It has to make the measurements first. You don't orbit something if you just, well, let's just shoot it up there and hope it works. So no, your answer isn't GPS satellites. That's how we measured it. You would have to have measured it first before you just throw. Let's just hope it works, guys. I doubt you think your experts move like that. So that's not your answer or a valid one. So what else you got?
I get what you're saying here, but that's kind of not how I'm going through here.
Mhm.
Okay, I could trust the experts. Yeah, sure. That's trust. Yeah. They say something, they have data, etc., and I can trust it. They use this technology, they use satellites or GPS to, let's say, calculate the radius of the Earth or whatever, and I can trust the expert and his data. Yeah. I could also ask more questions, yeah, and look into the paper. I could verify if what he's saying is true for myself at least, but verify to myself, not
Can
verify to the
you?
world. Verify to myself
Can you?
if it makes sense. Let me finish what I'm saying by reading his paper. If the paper is wrong, then I can verify that it's wrong, and if it's right, I can verify it's right, because if the maths don't add up on the paper, then it's wrong. If the maths add up on the paper, it's right. Something like that. So verify, not as in completely verify, you have the Nobel Prize and the whole world knows it. No.
What?
Verify the integrity, let's say, of that to myself. I can look at his paper. I can look at what he published. I can look at his studies. I can study his maths. I can look at what his math. I can look at his axioms. I can see and determine exactly what technology
Bro, what are
he
you
used
talking
as
about, man?
well. It's going to be in his paper. So if there's anything to hide, I wouldn't even be able to see the paper. Now, if I look at the paper and it's consistent, then it is safe to trust. It's consistent.
What the fuck are you talking about? The paper, the paper, the paper.
What
What is
paper?
that movie? What is that movie, guys? Hey, get the papers, the papers. I mean, bro, who brought up anything to do with a paper? We're talking about. We're just saying, like you said, the
I'm talking
measurement of the
about
Earth
an
was
expert, a
3 sets of
scientist
satellites,
expert that
and I
makes an
said that they
experiment
wouldn't. Hold on, dude. Hold on. You lost
and
the
that
plot.
has results.
You lost the plot. We're asking you for measurements of the Earth because you kept saying the value is 40,000. Chat's getting pissed. Where'd you get 40,000 from? So we're begging you at this point for measurements of the Earth. Well, you said satellites. We just explained why that's not the measurement of the Earth because they would have had to measure it prior before they just throw some shit in the sky and hope it works. So you telling me like, oh, well, this random vague, I'm going to imagine a scientist and he has a paper and if there's math on the paper and it's right, then he's right. What is it? Like, we're asking you for measurements of the Earth, dude. Can you not be a vague earther and tell us that some imaginary scientist is right with a paper that you just made up? I mean, dude, what is going on here?
I'm just saying, basically, if you want the measurements, you can
I know
refer
you're
to
just
the experts and look them up yourself. I'm not going to
What
make
did they
measurements
do?
myself for you.
What did they
I
do?
told me I'm not going to go outside and start making some scientist experiment with tools I don't have to
Oh,
satisfy you. So I can't make those measurements myself now. I'm at home, but you could
what
use
tools?
the measurements of other people, the scientists who actually studied this.
okay. We're gonna need you to start. Let's name one scientist because you keep saying things in a vague way. All the scientists, all the measurements. Let's
Don't worry about the scientists. I'm more interested in what they fucking
measurement.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, more
yeah.
interested in what they did. I don't care who it
Well,
is.
if he's saying there's a measurement, then they need some kind of measuring device. So how about he tells us what that is?
Yeah.
Go.
Well, yes, we have telescopes, first of all.
Okay. What does that prove?
We have sextants.
Hold
We
on,
have
hold on. One thing at a time.
we
So
have
telescopes.
computers.
Oh, now right.
Um,
3 things on the fucking table. Okay.
We have
Telescope.
we have computers. We have
NPC, stop talking to yourself, you weirdo.
Starting to sound like a Radiohead album.
Holy shit. Let's go with the first thing. Jedi's gonna deal with the first thing. One at a time, NPC. Calm down. Can hear you gasping for air. Relax.
Telescope. Telescope,
Telescope.
mate. What does that prove?
cherry pick one thing instead of like take the whole.
Telescope.
Right? So, like
I'm
cut me
going
before
to
I
go
finish the
through
whole, so
them
that you.
one by fucking one, sunshine. So you've put 3 things on the table: telescopes, sextants, and computers. Awesome. So we'll deal with those. Telescopes. What's that prove?
Well, I mean, telescopes. You can actually view astronomical objects. You can view the moon. You can view Jupiter. You can view the sun. You can view
I
stars.
see. Oh,
Anything
okay.
but the Earth.
Yeah, so that
Anything
doesn't
but
really
the
tell
Earth.
you anything about the Earth then, because you're not looking
Oh
at the Earth.
my. Okay, so these things in perspective to the Earth tell you. Okay, yes.
In
Yeah, they're
perspective
completely
to
unrelated. There are no observable similarities. So
No, they are related. That's the thing you didn't point.
Okay,
Yes,
so
no,
because you
go
can't
through all of
conceive
this.
how
Sorry,
these things
my
can give
friend,
you actual
listen,
data that
NPC,
you need.
right?
NPC, I'm listening in, man. That's pretty crazy. You know, like if I want to take a measurement, I ask my apprentice to go grab my telescope. Yeah, what a great measuring tool.
Dude, if you're going to look at the sun, moon, and stars, then you're just going to be looking at them. How do we prove the surface is curved, though? It's not going to be through telescopes, is it?
No, but you can use the
Okay,
other
so
fucking methods.
hold on. So
You can
looking at the
combine several things together and cluster the
okay,
data to get more accurate results. Did you know that?
yeah.
Did you
So
know
what are
that
we
you
going
can
to?
actually cluster data together? So you can use data you have on Earth, data you have on Sun, data you have on the Moon, and all three together will give you more data on all three.
Okay, I understand that, but you just said telescopes. So I've asked you what about telescopes, and you said you can look through telescopes at things. Okay, now you've started to compile all of these other things together and say, well, eventually at the end of the story, when I've shoved all of this other stuff in, we're going to end up with a ball. All right, looks like it's going to
Again,
be a long
why
fucking
are you
process to
cherry
get there.
picking a fucking word?
Not cherry picking, dumb fuck.
Oh yeah, I'm cherry
Second
picking.
thing
Oh,
that
you
you
said
said,
telescope. It was a mere example,
uh,
dude. A mere fucking example. Let's cherry pick a mere
second
example.
thing that you said, sextant. Okay,
Yeah,
how
well,
does
okay, we can use the sextant too. Yeah, that will
okay?
actually give you the angles and positions of the objects you're looking at in the sky relative to you on the Earth, which will
so
give you
again, nothing to
a
do with the Earth.
lot of data to actually celestially navigate on a sphere.
Stop the
Awesome
cap.
stuff. What's an angle?
Hmm?
What's an angle?
Oh, okay. So a sphere is 360 degrees. An angle is one of those degrees
Oh, so
or
those
more.
type of degrees. Okay, I understand. So an angle would be two straight lines meeting at a point where you can measure the disparity between those two
I guess
lines.
something like that. I guess something like that.
Yeah,
There might be other semantics. I know that things have multiple semantics in them, but yeah, sure, you can put it like
yeah.
that.
Words have meaning. So when we're having a conversation, it's important we understand what we're talking about. So yeah, it might be a bit of a semantical argument. Of course, it will be. We're communicating using fucking words.
Yeah, we're trying at least.
So can you measure an angle off of a curved line? If one of your lines is curved and not straight, can you measure an angle?
No, but you can create an angle.
No, I'm asking you a very simple question. Can you or can you not measure an angle if one of those lines is curved?
Personally, I don't know, but like if you have one line
Personally, you
curved and two
don't know.
lines, yes, you
Personally,
have an
you
angle.
don't know
You'll have
geometry.
an angle anyway.
Personally,
You
you
can still
don't know what
triangulate.
you're. Hold on, my friend. You said personally, I don't know. So why are you talking about something that personally you don't know? Angles is the very basis of celestial navigation, measuring elevation angles to stars. It's the very basis of it. So why the fuck are you talking about it if personally you don't know?
I mean, like if you have something curved and two straight angles, yes, you have an angle. And yes,
Okay.
that's the point of triangulating. So that's the point. So if you
Two
can have
straight
a
angles.
curve and calculate an angle from
Well,
a curve, well, I mean, I guess you could on the you
oh,
can kind of
well,
you can.
hold on. You said two straight angles. Do you even know what a straight angle is?
The two straight lines,
Okay, my bad.
and maybe
Yes.
I said angles
And
mistakenly,
you
but I
said
probably
triangulation. You said
two
triangulation.
lines. Yeah.
Dude,
You
you said
yeah, you
triangulation.
triangulate with two lines and you perpendiculate, and yes, you
All you
can
have to
kind of
do
make
is say
angles.
yes or no when I ask you a
So
fucking
technically,
question.
yes, you can have an angle.
No, you cannot measure an angle if one of those lines is curved. That would be stupid. Do you know what a triangle is? You said triangulation. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
triangle. Okay, so
yeah.
does a triangle have a curved fucking line in it?
No.
Excellent. Of course it doesn't. It wouldn't be called a triangle anymore because one of the lines is curved and you cannot measure two of the interior angles of that triangle. So no, you
But you
can't
still have
measure an
an
angle.
angle from those 2
You
points that are
cannot
meeting
measure.
perpendicularly.
Where along this line do you measure that angle from?
Okay, if I have a celestial object on a sphere, well, I'm on a sphere and there's
No,
a
I'm
celestial.
asking you about angle,
Okay,
sunshine.
I draw a
I'm asking you about
object
angle.
and I have an angle right there.
Angle. So do you measure elevation angles to stars in the sky with a sextant?
Hmm?
Do you measure elevation angles to stars with a sextant in celestial navigation? Yes or no?
I mean, I don't understand the whole dynamics
So
behind it, but
you're going to be talking about something that
I've
you
seen
don't
some of it
understand.
at work and
You
understood a little
don't
bit of the
understand.
work. But I mean,
So
yeah, it
second
does kind of
time,
work.
you don't understand this. Personally, I don't know. First comment,
Look, just
and
because
now
I
I
don't
personally
understand the
don't
whole
understand it.
dynamics doesn't mean I don't understand some dynamics.
Okay, so we're at the moment we're trying to define what an angle is, and you've incorrectly defined what an angle is. You said that you can measure an angle.
A
Why are you
specialist in their
scared?
domain doesn't know all the
Why are you
dynamics of the domain.
scared? Why do you keep talking? I haven't finished giving you my response, and there will be a question at the end. Why do you have to keep talking through me? You've incorrectly defined what an angle is. You can't measure an angle if one of those lines is curved. So you don't know what you're talking about, do you?
True. If I
No,
draw
you
two
don't.
lines that have a 90-degree angle and curve
90 degrees.
curve towards
Awesome.
them, that's
Okay.
still have my
Okay.
90-degree angle with a curve on
What's
my
the
shape.
ground position? My friend, you said 90 degrees. Let's talk about celestial navigation. What's the ground position angle of Polaris on the surface of the Earth? What is that ground position angle?
I mean, I don't know personally. I don't remember from the
90
video, but I mean, I
degrees.
could post a video if you want.
It's nine. Don't need a fucking video. I'm going to educate you on your fucking subject that I need to go and watch a video about, apparently, that you don't personally understand. This is going to be an interesting conversation.
Stupid.
So, you said 90 degrees. Can you have 90 degrees if one of those lines is curved? The horizontal baseline of that 90 degrees. Would it be 90 degrees if it
I
was
put a
curved?
perpendicular line on a curved surface. The point that which the line emits from is, yes, 90 degrees.
If your angle has a line that's curved, you can't measure an angle because the line's curved. So you can't have 90 degrees. Can you?
You can.
You cannot. You don't understand basic geometry. If you have a curved line within your triangle, it's no longer a triangle and you can't measure two
The
of the angles
fixed
because one of
point,
the lines is curved.
if I hold a needle on a sphere and I
A needle
put
on a sphere.
another
What are you talking
needle
about
that
now?
is horizontal at the same tip, I'm going to have a 90-degree angle. And I don't even need the second needle because the fine point that my needle is going to be touching will be at a 90-degree angle with the sphere. Yes.
So the needles prove Earth is a sphere. That's cool.
He's a
Oh,
dickhead.
wow. Another
He
straw man
doesn't
here.
understand celestial
Another straw
navigation.
manner.
You don't understand celestial navigation.
So I find something
this?
on the
Is your
subject.
line
Oh, that means it's for the
That's
sphere.
something you don't know. Let's see where we go. So what's a GP of a star in the first instance? What's that then? What's a GP?
General position, if I would say.
If you would say, and I don't care what you would say, I want to know what it is within celestial navigation.
General
So
position.
in celestial navigation, what is it?
The general position. I'm not a
General
celestial
Is that a
navigator,
question
dude.
or an answer?
I don't have a boat.
Hold
I never
on.
went on
2
a boat or
seconds. 2
whatever.
seconds.
But
Shush.
I do know probe about it,
Shush.
and I could ask him information about that, and yes, he would educate me better than you on the subject.
Why would he educate you better than me? Is it because I'm a flat earther and
Because
you're a
he's an
bigger?
actual celestial navigator?
So high pitch at the end. So would you assume, being this is the first time that we've ever spoke,
I've
that I
seen one of
don't
his
know? Hold on.
experiments, and it was very consistent.
Why do you keep raising your voice? It's really weird.
That's a question, basically.
So no, you're wrong when you say general position. It's a ground position. It's the vertical
Ground
line.
position. Yeah, ground position. That
Directly
makes more
underneath the
sense.
star
That
where it
makes more sense,
intersects
yes.
the surface of the Earth. It's ground position because that's what you're interested in when you do celestial navigation. The ground position, because after you get the ground position of a star on a chart, the next thing you're going to do is draw a circle of equal altitude around that star. After you've gained,
that's what he did on the globe. That's exactly what he did on the globe.
I'm not fucking surprised because this is celestial navigation and I do know what I'm talking about, which is why I'm not scared about this and trying to interrupt you, trying to ask you what you know about because this was your evidence. Now it seems like I'm educating
I'm not
you.
the celestial navigator. You can ask him the arguments.
You don't
I
need to
care.
ask him. I already understand the
I
argument.
just agreed with
Crescendo
him
to this
because
point
it's
is
consistent.
this. The crescendo to the point is this. You can't measure angles off of curved lines. So you're not going to be measuring angles off of the Earth, which is not a horizontal line. It's curved. So
I'm sorry,
don't
but
tell me.
The fixed point of the ground position you're gonna have, you can have a 90-degree angle. Yes.
No shit. And then it's going to be up to 4,000 miles a horizontal line between that ground position.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be a horizontal. Make a
yeah,
horizontal line, and yes, you're not
4,000.
following the curve, but you're making a. I
Yeah,
understand that, but you still have that 90-degree angle. It's still consistent. It
yeah,
still works. It's still there.
yeah.
That's what I'm
On
saying. I'm
a,
saying on the fixed point. On
are
the
you
fixed point, you're at 90 degrees no matter what.
and
And
then
plus,
there's a.
you can.
Excuse me. Do
Plus,
you know what you're
with
talking about, Joe?
The Earth's size, you can be on flat land as
Mm.
well. You could be on flat land,
We're doing
which is
celestial
still at 90
navigation with
degrees,
idiots.
and you can have a butt up and then down, which goes down the curvature. So yes, you can be in a flat land. That can happen.
Yeah, no
Yeah, we
shit.
know.
Like in Kansas, no, I think it's Florida or Kansas that is like the flattest state in
Yeah,
terms
and
of
all the oceans and the seas.
topology, not in terms of Earth is absolutely flat because there's topological flat zones.
Topology? What the
Sounds like a
fuck?
flat roll.
No, this is
You
just
mean
one of those guys.
topography?
Yeah, that's
Topography, you mean?
Hmm?
Hmm?
English?
Well, if I
You
could just like maybe
understand?
make a suggestion for the gentleman, because so far you've brought up a couple of things that you don't apparently know much about. Maybe if you try bringing up an argument that you do actually know something about or specifics about, then we might be able to have a better conversation, right?
I mean, if
Cooked.
you think that topology is in English, you can look it up, my friend.
No one cares. We're
Look
doing
it up.
celestial
Look it up.
navigation, which
I want you to look it up.
primarily
I
for
did.
boats at sea.
You can.
After your GP, you draw a circle of equal altitude around it. Do you know what a circle of equal altitude is?
Hmm?
Do you know the basis of celestial
Yeah.
navigation at least? Like the basic shit. You understand the basic shit of celestial navigation, right?
Yeah, the circle you draw around.
Yeah, yeah. Why do I do that?
Because you have to compare with another star to draw another circle, and you have to compare with your own position to draw the third circle to get the right coordinates, right?
Awesome stuff. Well done. So at least you do understand what that is. Well done for at least understanding that.
I
But you
I
understand?
watched a demonstration from Protothad, which was very consistent, like I said. So yes, I know this because of that. I might not know all the dynamics, but I understood that. Yes.
Yeah, well done. So you understand that you can't have a circle of equal altitude.
It doesn't mean that. Look, I understand some level of basics, but doesn't mean I understand the whole advanced mechanics. Unlike omniscient here, I mean, I study multiple subjects. I'm not like specialized in all of them.
Yeah.
So
So you understand that the line between the ground position of that star and you have
yeah.
a horizontal line, right?
Yes, and
Between you and the ground.
like what he did. I understood what he did, and etc. Like, don't
Yeah.
remember it all, etc. I would have to rewatch it to refresh.
Good.
But on the hit, I did like pretty much understand. That's why I still know what I do know about it.
Good. So you
So
understand that is a
so if you
horizontal
would give me
line.
demonstrations like that, that would work just as much flat Earth wise without having a straw man or like omitting actual
Why?
important
Why do you
factors and
keep
stuff like
saying
that.
words you don't?
I would actually take
That's
that and
weird.
learn that. Except that I
No,
only see demonstrations like this working with globes.
no, because you understand the base premise. Right? We've said the horizontal line between the ground position of the star and you several times, and you've agreed. That's a horizontal line, not a curved line. And that's three horizontal lines because you've taken three elevation angles off of that horizontal line to three stars to get their ground position, to draw circles around to triangulate your position along a horizontal axis, not a curved axis. It's
Oh,
horizontal.
really? I mean,
Yes.
I can post Prothotat's video, and he's using those three
Do you
circles
understand
on a
why?
globe, and it works
Understand why?
perfectly fine.
Yeah, it work on the globe when you think that you are part of the celestial sphere coming out from a point. Yeah, of course you will. But you're going to
So
need the flat
it
Earth.
works on a globe, right? It works on a globe, right?
Yeah, but we're not going to appeal to usage. Just because something works doesn't mean that it's completely
Okay,
100%
so if it
correct.
works on a globe, though,
It works on the flat
it's
Earth as
possible
well.
that other things also work on the globe with that, right?
Listen, you're not listening to the point. It works on a flat Earth as well. Did you hear what I said? Because you coughed all the way through it.
Oh,
It
I mean,
works
I
on
was
a flat
understanding what
Earth.
you were saying, though. It
Excuse
works
me.
on a flat Earth as
That's all.
well, except that there's a big difference between the two. On a
Well, of
globe,
course,
your coordinates are going to be closer to the actual coordinates than if you use a flat Earth, because on the globe you're actually going to have curvatures taken in account for, and by doing so, you're going to be more accurate. So if you do it on a globe
that's not
and on
true.
flat Earth and
That's
compare
not
with
true at all.
a real world position, like
That's
the
not
guy
true at all.
Protothat did. Protothat did this. That's how I know this. If you do
Oh,
this and compare with a real world position, you
Verbal
will be more
diarrhea,
accurate.
dude. Listen and learn.
Oh
You want
shit.
me to send it?
What do you
no, I've already seen it. You think we don't know who Protothad is? What the fuck? The point is that it can be done on both, and you're going to need a flat Earth to begin with to even get your coordinate system.
The guy actually goes out to sea to get his coordinates. So
Well, it's a Cartesian coordinate
here,
system. Do you understand what that is?
here, he's using a globe,
I don't care what he is
and he's
doing. I'm more
more
interested in what
accurate than if
you
you
know.
use a flat Earth.
I'm here
You
to
want.
tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
Here's
We
a
don't
shorter
care.
one.
Why are you posting me stuff I've already seen?
Okay, you've
I
seen
told you
that? Good.
this. Yeah, I told you this earlier. It's like you don't listen to what people are saying to you.
Okay, it's
They
more
don't
accurate
post.
than flat, and I.
You're just telling us your sloppy version of flat Earth doesn't match reality, bro. We're saying that reality is the flat Earth. So yeah, it does match. It just doesn't match your sloppy straw man that you've made up, that no one
I mean,
presents except for
what
you.
matches reality? I don't see how your flat Earth. I mean, even
That's
the way
reality.
you were trying to explain it earlier, I don't see how that matches reality. First of all, you're saying that Earth is not an object, then what is it?
We already went over this, bro. I mean, this just shows you don't know what flat Earth is to then compare it to reality. That proves my point ultimately. The
Okay, so
fact that you
suppose I
even
go to
say that.
Antarctica. Suppose I go
Go on
to
then.
Antarctica. What's going to be there? Suppose I walk 1,000 miles on Antarctica. What's going to
Lots of
happen?
fucking ice. Lots of
Well,
fucking ice.
just get
You'll
our
get cold.
checkbooks out,
Probably
start
die.
writing crazy values on our checkbooks, and hope someone will cash it for us. What kind of crazy hypothetical is that?
Suppose that I had $1 million, what would I do? Supposed we don't care what you suppose, buddy.
That's not a thing of a supposition there.
Suppose I had a
I'm
Ferrari, what
asking
would
you
I do?
about your flat Earth here. Your flat Earth. Your version of flat Earth. I'm asking you to explain to me how it works with reality. Yeah? How is it consistent with the reality we live in?
Well, I go outside and I observe a flat horizon and motionless ground, so that works for me.
That's just one factor. You need more than one factor.
Right. But notice how
What do
you.
I need?
Sorry.
Because I mean the factor of the horizon, I mean we've already been through it. It's not very convincing.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you what I observe in reality. I observe a flat horizon and I don't observe the ground moving. So that's what I observe. That's reality.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, we're not. I would agree with that. We're
Can
just
you
dealing with
stop there,
reality as
right?
it presents itself, not your idea that, oh, well, it has to be like this out there. There must be thousands of miles of ice out there, and because it's not there, like that's your idea. We're just
No,
dealing with
no.
reality as it presents itself. Which
My idea here is, I mean, is there a boundary to this
we
world that we live in? Is like is it infinite or is
we
there a
already covered.
limit somewhere? Is there a border? I'm asking you relevant questions here.
All right. If you're generally asking, we already covered this. So we already gave you the answer. I told you.
I didn't hear it.
Your worldview is the exact same. I could just ask you the same right back to
You
you.
weren't listening.
Does it have a
Well,
boundary?
I
Does the
mean,
universe have a
if I'm on a
boundary?
sphere, I mean,
Hold
it's
on
not
one second.
infinite,
We already
so the
addressed this.
boundary.
Hold on, brother. We already addressed this. I don't want to piss off the chat here, but your worldview does not just consist of the globe. It consists of this very large place that hasn't. You don't know the boundaries. All the questions you're asking me, well, where's the boundary? I could just ask you, well, where's the boundary of your worldview? You'd be like, well, I don't know. If you were being honest. Well, what's the shape of the world? Your reality. What's the shape of the universe? The only answer you could say is you don't know. So you don't have a gotcha when you're like, well, tell me what you imagine when you close your eyes. We don't do that. We just go outside. That's the flat Earth.
Except that you're kind of comparing a house to a universe. The planet is tinier than a house compared to the universe. So right there, you're telling me that I don't know the limits of the universe, But that means I can't know the limits of the Earth.
I told you
That's
earlier, this
that's a stretch,
NPC,
my friend.
that
That's
it
a stretch.
doesn't. That
It's like saying
you're trying to compare the globe to a flat object. We already told you that earlier. That's not a good comparison because what you're now doing is you're putting a frisbee next to a globe, and you're like, but, how come? What do you mean? It's not like that. If you want to try to wrap your brain around how does this flat Earth thing really work, you're better off thinking of, well, my worldview currently is this huge space. I don't know the boundary. I don't know the shape. Well, welcome to Flat Earth. You know exactly how it feels. We don't know exactly what shape all of reality is. We're not saying all of reality is a piece of paper or a planet or a coin, none of those things, okay? Wake up, man. This is the fourth, probably fifth time we've said it now. Pay attention.
but okay, well we're talking about the Earth here.
Yeah.
The Earth.
So my issue was that you were
Ground
trying to
that I
compare. You were trying to
how do you
compare.
propose how
My
you're
issue was
proposing
that
this?
my
How
issue
you're
was that you were trying to compare. Well, I'm comparing flat versus globe, and then I'm going outside. Well, your idea of flat doesn't match because flat Earth is outside. Are you getting it? So leave your own ideas of flat Earth out of here. Like we're just addressing the way the Earth is.
just gonna count how long it's gonna take before I get cut off. Word 1, word 2, word 3, word 4. Am I cut off yet? Hello? Word 5, word 6, word 7, 8.
It's not actually effective. So instead of taking the mic and doing that, you could maybe just address what I'm saying to you. Because the fact that we're having to repeat ourselves 4, 5, 6, 7 times, when my issue is you were saying, well, I'm comparing the flat Earth to the globe, and then I go outside and I have these two things, and well, you don't have you don't have the flat Earth to compare. What you're doing is making up some sloppy idea in your head, like what you tried to do earlier with this whole like, well, there must be thousands of miles of ice you can go walk on. Okay, so you want to compare the flat Earth, you got to go outside. So it's not your idea.
Speak, I listen to you. When I speak after 3 words, I'm muted when I'm not done. You're gonna have to stop muting me before I'm done. Mute me when I'm done with what I have to say.
Dude, shut
But if
up,
you don't,
please.
See, noted. Just trying to address what you're saying, brother. So if you want to respond to something, you're welcome to do that, but we don't need the soap box crying in the microphone. Just respond to something anyone said. We were looking for measurements, we couldn't get those. Now you're trying to say you're comparing the flat Earth to reality when you don't realize that flat Earth is the Earth outside, which would AKA be reality. It's not an idea that you compare like, oh, well, I think of the flat Earth must be like this, and so when I go outside, it's not like the way I imagined, so it can't be flat. That's a lot of your guys' problems.
the way you presented this to me is like saying that because I don't know the limits of what's outside, I don't know the limits of the walls in my house.
What the fuck are you even talking about, dude?
He probably doesn't even know the limits of the
I'm
walls
talking
in
about
his
the
house.
planet Earth here. Okay, you say flat Earth is the whole reality is flat, whatever. Okay, sure, but Earth isn't extended on this flat plane or whatever you're
You
suggesting, or
don't know.
however
You
you
don't
want to
know.
put it. Because the way you're putting it, also right now, doesn't even make sense. Not even the slightest sense. Funny how a globe Earth makes absolute.
Okay, 1 second. You're telling me that the pizza planet floating in space makes more sense.
Maybe.
No, bro.
I mean,
That's why you that's
I'm
why you have
asking you
those.
the boundaries of Earth,
You already
not
went
your
over.
universe and reality. The boundaries of your Earth.
The Earth isn't a disk in space, you dick. How many times do we have to tell you? If you want to think of flat Earth, it's all of reality, not a pizza within a large void. That's your idea.
If it's not a disk, does it extend horizontally forever, or is there
Say
a
what?
wall at some point? That's what I'm asking you.
Does your okay?
Is that
Let's just
so
ask
hard
that.
to understand?
Nope, no, it's not hard to understand. I've already asked you this directly to you, right? Let's keep it fair. Does your worldview have a wall or is it infinite?
Maybe the universe has a wall and boundary. I don't know.
All right.
But
Now, what if
maybe,
I told you? What
maybe,
if I told you I
and
don't know either? Is that so wrong?
is one, it could be observable.
Sorry, if you don't know and I don't know, what's the problem here?
Okay, the problem is I'm talking about the universe as a whole, which is
Yes, so am I.
containing spheres where Earth is inside this universe.
Not, well, brother. You have to address my position, not
And
your problem.
your position, no space, no universe. Okay, I get it. But you have a planet,
No,
right?
no, no, nope,
I mean, a
no,
planet.
no. Don't have a planet. That's the whole point.
Okay, you have Earth in its map, right?
Earth and its what?
Earth and the maps. We have maps of Earth, right? We have maps to know like where New York is, where Canada
Well,
is, where
that's
Russia
a
is.
non sequitur to what we're talking about.
Yes, it
Because you're
is
trying to
sequitur.
compare the Earth. You're
I'm
trying to
asking
compare
you
the Earth.
about your flat plane here, okay? Your flat plane, which you refer to Earth being the entire universe,
Yeah.
okay? If the Earth would be, let's say, the entire universe, I could walk, let's say, one distance, the straight one distance, right? Let's say
No,
north or south. I'll go
no, you
south.
can't do that. You can't do that. Let's just
I
stop
can't
you.
just go south and keep my line straight.
Correct.
South,
Correct.
south forever until I
Correct.
meet the
Let's address
boundary of
that.
Earth.
Correct. Let's address that. Let me just ask you very simply. Let's just start with method of travel. We can go Dr. Seuss up in this bitch if we have to. Are we taking plane, train, bike, trike? Are we walking? Are we running? Are we driving, flying, boating, sailing? What's a trike? I believe that's a tricycle. But what method of travel we need some method of travel. So we'll pick a method.
For the sake of argument, we have an infinite fuel jetpack. How about
No.
that?
No, 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 no. We're not going to do that because here's what you're going to try to do, right? You're going to give this example and then try to cash it in, right? So, but what you're about, whipped out a checkbook and you're now about to write a $3 million trillion check. Well, if we have a jetpack and the Earth is like some random thing that doesn't exist, and you do this thing, then it's not flat. Like, bro, no, you can't go outside by any method of travel and quote unquote go straight. Why? Well, if you're gonna walk, you're gonna have to phase through buildings and phase through trees and stuff like I don't know. You're not gonna be able to walk straight. Obviously, you can't drive straight, fly, bike, train, none of those things. You can't do that in reality. It works on paper, not in the field.
Okay, I turn left, and then when on my right there's no more building, I turn right. I'm still in a straight line and
Oh,
direction.
wow. How
Suppose
about
if I
that? You just didn't go in a straight line. Funny that.
that I was deviated from the building, there is a way for me to readjust my navigation back to a straight line.
AKA not a straight line. Wake up, dude.
Walk
This
to
can't be done.
Argentina.
This can't be
Are you
done.
telling me I can't go to Argentina?
No, not in a straight line.
Not at all, not even with an airplane.
No.
Afuera. No. Oh, no. Not even with an airplane.
No.
Why not?
Why would you be able to do that?
What would be in front of the airplane to block it from actually going in a straight line?
Wind.
I don't know. There's this thing called wind.
What if the plane and the pilot knows how to adjust his position according to the wind
Okay,
to
well, there you
keep a
go.
straight line?
Adjust your
I mean,
position.
seriously, you make
Hello.
it.
Hello. Adjust your position. Therefore,
Not straight.
oh my God, dude. Wake up.
Anyways, no. Instead of straw manning, how about you just assess this? Okay?
You don't understand what a straw man is if you say that. We're just addressing what you have said specifically. You can go straight, telling you no, you can't. I haven't straw manned you by telling you that wind is going to blow your plane around, water is going to blow, like move your boat around a little bit. You're not going in a quote beeline path to say, well, I haven't deviated. I now have gone straight. I have proven X, Y, or Z. You can't do that. It only works on paper, dude. It works in your mind. Like you said, oh, I got a jetpack. Okay, well, have fun with that. But you're never going to be able to do this in reality. That's the problem. So it's not ever going to be evidence of anything.
Oh my god, I'm walking. Oh my god, I turned left. I don't know what direction I need to go back to the straight line. Oh my god, impossible.
You're a
Absolutely
weirdo.
impossible. Oh my god.
You're
There,
weirdo.
there is no way for me to readjust my position back to the same
Readjust.
position I was earlier.
So not a straight line.
Mhm.
Then. You have to adjust. It's not a straight line.
I'm just going to read this off for you since you're just
Okay,
hard.
I'm not.
Hold
Forget
on.
this, like straight line straw man, right?
Straw man, that was your example. So, when lost in the desert or a thick forest, terrains devoid of landmarks, people tend to walk in circles. Blindfolded people show the same tendency. Lacking external reference points, they circle around in loops as tight as 66 feet, interesting, in diameter, all while believing they are walking in straight lines. Why can't we walk straight? Only recently have scientists begun to. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to continue this, but you get the point. You're trying to make this weird argument like, no, just go straight, bro. If it's flat, you can go straight. No, you can't. You can't do that on the globe either.
If I'm drawing a line, I have my reference point to know how to be straight. You know.
He's going to
So
quadruple.
let's say I'm drawing my line. So if I ever deviate, my line will curve. I just readjust towards the direction I was trying to go. It's not hard to do. Okay. I am able, like, yes, people will walk in circles when they're not paying attention to where the fuck they're going. But if you're paying attention to where you're going and you're paying attention to your directions and you know what you're doing, you will be able to consistently walk on a straight path. And yes, you're gonna have to go around the building or etc. But when you go around
and do what?
When you go around the building, you're not going straight. How about that? And you don't want me to continue reading this article because it's going against what you're saying. Because you're saying, well, no, if you just like you're not trying enough. Like, dude, the article's flat out saying these people are trying to get where they're going. They believe they're going straight, and they're not. So you don't have an argument here, man. Don't quintuple. What is it? Don't sextuple down on
counter
this.
argument to tell me how it's impossible.
Shut up.
No valid counter. No, dude. Okay.
I just did.
And plus, you didn't even.
Well, I just did. Right? There's not a single method of travel, and then not only that, that's only the first half. The second half is, well, all right. Well, since you want to play this game, we need a location to start from. So where do we start? Give us that.
To explain to me why we haven't found, let's say, another continent.
Oh, well, we'll get into that. But where are we going to start?
No. We'll get it. No. This is my argument here. If I were to take it one or south, all right? And I don't care about your method of travels or whatever, because that has nothing to do with the argument. If I'm going south and consistently south, suppose a photon, a beam of light that goes through everything, going south. Right? And suppose that beam of light has eyes to see where it's going.
Again, see, notice your example. If we have a beam of light with eyeballs,
Suppose.
you're going to take that. You're basically writing a check that you can't cash. You're going to take that and try to cash it in. Well, see, because you can't do that. Well, no shit, you can't do that because you're not a beam of light with eyeballs. Goofy ass. So that's what I'm saying. What your example of that you're trying to use cannot be done in reality. That's why your method of travel does matter. Because, well, and then again, I already asked you, from where are you going to begin your journey? Okay, let's put our backs to our front door. Everybody go to their front door, put your back to the door, and just start walking straight. I bet you're going to hit a tree, a house, another car. You're going to hit something probably. So that method is not going to work. So what? Should we just helicopter? Should we just helicopter up and then go forward? Because I don't know, there's probably some wind and stuff that might blow us around a little bit. So we're probably not going in a straight line. So Just take your straight line example and just throw it in the trash.
Instead of straw manning, at least let me make my fucking argument again.
Oh,
Because
bro, you keep doing this thing like, oh, he's just not understanding my argument. Again, you're not the first person to go to say this. That's why it's very easily addressed. Straight line in the chat, in the search. What the hell? 11,000 results. Okay. So it's trash.
I want
No,
to ask
straw man
because
you.
you know you can't answer it.
What? Answer what? We haven't even fucking got anywhere yet.
Answer what? Answer what? First of all, let's just establish, is it possible to reach Antarctica? The answer is yes.
Yes.
There's plenty of
Yes.
footage of reaching
So all of
Antarctica.
your
So yes,
sorry,
it's
all of your
possible. If
questions.
I
Sorry,
go on Antarctica,
the fuck is wrong with this man?
You're arguing with yourself. No one in here said you can't go to Antarctica, bro. Notice how you're just your goalpost is on wheels right now. You're just rolling it around. Yeah, but you can go to Antarctica. One's in the chat if no one said anything about the ability to go to Antarctica. Okay. Two's in the chat if we said anything about, oh, well, you can't, if we said you can't go to Antarctica. Like, what? You're just arguing with yourself right now, brother.
I'm still trying to figure out 40,000 kilometers, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's like we got so many things on the table that have just been holy.
I'm still trying to figure out the 8 minutes and the 93 million miles.
listen to anything, of course.
Never quite got there, did we? What the fuck?
I am dying laughing, you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
This
they're
has
just
been,
trolls.
this has been a blast. Oh, yeah.
Indeed, it has been a blast. It has been funny because I'm
Because
laughing
you keep
inside out.
denying everything. Blah 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 blah. No one cares. What happens when we get to Antarctica?
I mean,
Come on.
la la la.
Let's say
If the
you've
earth
got
is
to
flat.
Antarctica. Because we.
I mean, no
Yep.
matter what I'm going to formulate, after 3 words, you're going to cut me off.
I don't know. Let's see what happens after we get to Antarctica.
I
Because no
say
one's denying you can
I
get
wonder
there.
how these conversations would go if instead of muting me, you would actually let me
I
finish my
wonder if you're going
arguments
to answer the
entirely.
fucking question and we're actually going to get to the fucking crescendo of any point that you
All
bring up.
right. Your
So,
supposed universe-size flat Earth that you're talking to me about.
why are you asking me a question? I'm asking you to carry on with your point of, oh yeah, we can go to
I'm
Antarctica.
asking you a question. Yes, I'm asking you a question because you're avoiding it. Your
No, I'm
flat
trying to
Earth that
fucking
you
ask you,
consider
Holly,
your
you
whole
prick.
universe, is it infinite? Like, if you cross Antarctica, will
Where
it be
the
an infinite
fuck would
land
I?
space of ice?
Holy fuck, dude. You just respawn. How do we get through to you? Because you've already
How would
asked
you
it.
know if something was infinite or not? How would he even think to ask that question? Is it infinite? How would you know?
You need to get down to the root cause of why he's so emotional. Clearly, it's hitting a chord deep down and it's upsetting him to realize maybe what he believes in is not true. And there's some
Vader!
sort of emotional thing here. That's why
How
he's
do
so
we?
angry. If you don't,
That's going to stick with me for days now. I want to figure out how we figure out if something is eternal. How do we know that then?
I think actually, Dev, you make a good point there too. And you're right. I wonder how he thinks you can determine whether something's infinite or not.
A long
But
journey.
you know what? I'm getting in my feelings too. I'm starting to feel a little bit emotional in here, guys. All right, it's gonna be okay. And what is your name? Perfect Storm, I think is your other name. So it's gonna be all right, man. Just take a deep breath.
That was a nice projection, by the way.
How do we know if something's eternal or not?
I'm going to assess the projection
How
first.
do we figure out infinity?
I'm going to assess the projection first again. So,
Fucking hell. You asked us if it was infinite. I'm trying to ask you how we would figure that out then.
if what I believe would it be true,
Mm-hmm.
and would be proven not true, I would simply adjust my beliefs to the facts like I always do.
Not really. You haven't done that
When it
once
comes
yet.
to you guys, it doesn't seem like you have any will of accepting that you might be wrong.
Oh, hold on. We all believe. Yeah.
We all thought the globe was real, bro, and We ended up having to change our minds because we
Yes,
couldn't
and you
figure
got
out what the
brainwashed
globe
into this
was.
cult.
Reality brainwashed me, apparently.
Isn't that hilarious? He's saying, "Oh, let me explain why you guys are projecting. So you're not open-minded enough to consider another position. Oh, is that why I was the globe earther and was open-minded enough to possibly consider that it may be wrong, and I'm here, and you're the one that's open-minded? Sure."